Hey, what's up, everybody? Hey, welcome to the stream. Glad to have you guys here. Appreciate everyone tuning in. If this is your first time in the stream, welcome to the RWBY Volume 8 Chapter 4 live stream discussion. Can you guys see me well? Can you guys hear me well? Just want to make sure everything looks good and sounds good before we jump into this. I appreciate those of y'all for joining ASAP. But yeah, thank you guys all so much for tuning in. I appreciate it. Chris V. Hey Arnold, what's up? Did you get my fan mail? I'm going to the P.O. Box tomorrow morning. So hopefully I get to pick it up, and I'll be compiling that with a bunch of other things that I got for an unboxing video. Hopefully I can record that either Sunday or Monday. That'd be great. But yeah, I still have to do that. Chris V, thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. This is my third live stream. Alex, welcome. Welcome back, I should say. But thank you guys very much for tuning in. I have the entire day off, so ready for you to pop off this discussion. Yeah, there's a lot to talk about. A lot to get into. A lot of, oh man, a lot of red flags for a bunch of characters. I think this was like a really good chapter for character interaction, especially interactions that we haven't really seen before in the show. You know, Ren and Yang's perspective. Yeah, I guess Ren and Yang's perspective was the one that I was the most taken away from, because that was where the conflict reached its fever pitch moment. So yeah. Let's see. It's a pleasure to listen to you live. I appreciate that. Thank you very, very much. Yeah. Yeah, I'm just glad to be able to continue doing these weekly. I think I'm just going to stick to reactions on Saturdays and live streams on Thursdays, so I can focus my time and energy working on and editing other things, like getting back up to date with Red vs. Blue, which I plan to do this week. I also want to start getting out some like personal stuff that I was supposed to work on this year, but 2020 just like fucked me up mentally, and just I guess productive, you know, in terms of my productivity, it just wasn't the best this year. So I want to get back on track with stuff like that, like you know, milestone videos and like Q&As and stuff like that. I want to be able to just diversify and do the stuff that I really wanted to do this year, but, you know, this year wasn't really that great. So, yeah. Also, Gate Deshawn, I know you've asked multiple times, so I don't want you spamming the chat, but like I said, Red versus Blue stuff, I'm going to be getting back on track with that, hopefully within the next week, so, you know, just be a little bit more patient. But yeah, thank you guys all for tuning in. Hydro Guy, welcome. Let's go, fam. Really looking forward to this discussion. Hope everyone is doing well. Yeah, I mean, for the most part, I had a very interesting night yesterday. For those of you who saw my Twitter post, I woke up, so I had like a really messed up sleep schedule, and I was like up super late last night, and I hadn't eaten for most of the day. So I was like, I'm hungry. I'm gonna order McDonald's, and they deliver. So or through DoorDash they deliver, and I ordered 2 McRibs and a cinnamon roll. And when the order got to me, the box was sealed, or the bag was sealed. So right out the gate, whatever error had occurred was from the store's perspective, because the driver isn't allowed to open it to double check to see if the order's in there. So I got my order. I come back into my, you know, I go in my kitchen, I open it up, I open the box, and it's just the McRib buns for both of them. It's no sauce, no toppings, no meat. It's just like the buns, and that's it. And I thought it was like a prank. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, who does that? So I don't know if someone's brain was just turned off that shift. I don't know if they didn't have any and they were like, what do we give this guy? They're like, we still have the buns. Hopefully that'll satisfy them. So yeah, that was like, I was so hungry last night, and I didn't feel like making something at like 11:30, almost midnight. And so, yeah, long story short, the cinnamon bun was good at least. Yeah, so I got my money back, and I actually followed up today and actually had one, so that was good. But yeah, yesterday I was more confused than angry. I mean, I was still upset, but I was just like what? This actually happened once before. at a pizza place that a friend of mine worked at. Unfortunately, a bunch of my friends worked at it, and unfortunately, one of my friends was on the receiving end of that. So one of my friends was a delivery driver, and he delivered a small pizza and like a sub and sandwiches and, you know, wings and stuff like that to a house. And he gives the box to the person opens the box, and there's no pizza in the box. I'm not gonna touch that one. I don't know how that was a result of, I mean, I guess like because of all of the items, it kind of was like, it was like if it was just the pizza box, it's like clearly this box is a lot lighter than it should be. But yeah, yeah, but yeah, that was my night yesterday. Other than that, pretty standard stuff. I got through the last event of Genshin Impact, which is a game that I'm playing very heavily. I'm going to see if I can try streaming that tomorrow, actually. I command you to tell us the story. I mean, I just told the story. Also, don't spam the chat, Salem. I don't want you to get timed out. But yeah, other than that, I'm going to try to stream Genshin again tomorrow. My girlfriend's birthday's on Monday, so we're probably gonna, you know, watch a movie or stream stuff together or play games together on Monday. And I'm gonna try to get back to RWBY next week and everything else in between. But so far, 4 weeks in, RWBY Volume 8 has been fantastic. They've left us off on a lot of like crazy like cliffhanger moments for the first couple chapters. We got a couple of really awesome fight sequences so far. And this last week was kind of like, holy shit, like a lot of characters have a lot of things to say to each other. So there's just been a lot of conflict, I guess I should say, and a lot of room for discussion on the characters' perspectives. So I really, really like where the volume is going so far. I'm not looking forward to where it's going to end up emotionally and mentally, you know, for my sake as a viewer. But in terms of the story, I think it's going in a really good direction so far. 8 years of blindly following RWBY has come to this. You're not wrong. You're not wrong, John. I mean, it's been beautiful. It's been so great to see the show evolve and, you know, to see the community grow and all of that stuff from its humble beginnings to where it is now. And, you know, I hope to be able to be alongside the show until that series finale, whenever that is someday. But, you know, I'm enjoying the ride as,
calm down,
as it is.
here for your money.
By the way, how's everyone's week been? I'm over here rambling, talking about my day. You know. Hopefully you guys had a good week. Hopefully you guys are looking forward to the weekend. For those of you who are, you know, who either go to school or, you know, have the weekends off. But yeah, hopefully, I know some people, like, my girlfriend is in, like, university right now. So, like, exams are kind of, like, weighing down on her. So she's just trying to, like, brute force her way through this last month before Christmas break. So I definitely understand how that might feel for some of y'all who are in the same situation. But yeah, other than that, things are going relatively well for me, at least. And also, of course, I appreciate y'all taking the time to hang out with me for the next couple hours as we talk about the chapter in length. No screenshots this week. This is probably with the exception of the concept art at the very end of at the end of the discussion. This discussion is solely animation clips, no screenshots. So yeah, there's just a lot of shit going on. But yeah, yeah. By the way, usually it's a blend between screenshots and animation, like little clips. But like this week, it's only. Yeah. Some people are like, wait, what? Where's my eye candy? God damn it, I can't look at you for 3 hours. No. Yeah, it's just clips. No still images. God, no, I couldn't do a discussion just talking with no visual representation. I don't want to lose subs. You kidding me? But yeah. Yeah, I was gonna use. It's gonna be a puppet show, by the way. I was gonna reenact the entire show with sock puppets. You know, I took that one bit from RWBY Chibi, and I was gonna try that. You know what I mean? Innovating. No one else is really doing that on the platform, so I figured I'd usher in a new era of content, and I'm pretty sure you guys would enjoy it. So I actually might keep that in my back pocket for the finale. Don't sleep on that. Pigeon Power. Also, thank you guys all so much for the subscriptions and for the super chats. I am going to try to get through all of those before we jump in. We have about 8 minutes or so before I'm going to start. Let's see. Hey Arnold, good to see you. I can't stick around for long. I'm on a lunch break at work. Hope you guys have a good time. Excited to join later, hopefully. Thank you so much for the $10 super chat. I appreciate that. You have yourself hopefully you're working smarter, not harder. But yeah, thank you for taking time during your break to check out the stream. I appreciate it. Hopefully we'll be starting in the next couple minutes, so you'll be able to hear a little bit of the start of the stream for the most part. Oscar, do I hear X go and give it to you in the background? Well, why do I hear X go give it to you in the background and then just Hazel just shows up? Luca Blight, thank you for the super chat as well. I appreciate it. All right, let me get through some of these super chats and then we'll jump into the episode. William Pendragon, greetings, citizens. Please stand by as Atlas military persona authorize this stream. Hey, well, thank you for allowing me to do my job. I appreciate it. Thank you for your service, and thank you for the witty banter in the chat week to week. I appreciate that. Yeah. Let's see. Ruby Rose, excited for another live stream. Love you, Arnold. Thank you so much. Your decisions have been questionable the last couple volumes, but you know, you've been entertaining the last 8, so I can't knock you for that. Thanks for tuning into the stream. Gordon Lay, the truth hurts, doesn't it? Hashtag Ren did nothing. Wait, Ren is not wrong. Ren is not wrong, but Yang is not wrong either, and we'll talk about that. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. Let's see. Yep, so I think those are all the super chats so far. Thank you guys so much for the support on that front. I appreciate y'all very much. Let's see. Okay, so first things first. Guys, I gotta do it to you. You know what time it is. Also, make sure you guys like the stream if you haven't already. There's almost 600 of you guys in here, so I greatly appreciate the support all around. Hello, slow mode, my old friend. I've come to enable you again. Sorry, chat. I gotta do it to you guys. For my sanity, for my sake, and for my mods. So, no! Why? Stay! There you go. I should just say that every time I turn it on. Nah, that's a little cringe. I'm not gonna do that. My back's itchy. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the RWBY Volume 8, Chapter 4 live stream discussion for the title of the episode, Fault. A lot of opinions being tossed around, a lot of things just kind of reaching a fever pitch for what's been set up for the last volume and a half, I would say. And, I don't know, just a lot of discussion points, a lot of interesting moments. I think this episode was great for character interactions. And just like setting up different set pieces, right? We had a moment in the jail cell. We had an action sequence. We had the first song of the volume, which is great. That chase scene was really cool. You know, obviously the conflict and, you know, the big discussion around the decisions that Team RWBY and company have been making since volume 7, you know, where one person is focused more on results and the other person is focused on the progress that's been made since the show has started. Or rather, since they've agreed to follow Ozpin in trying to stop Salem and obtain the relics and all that stuff. And for the most part, and then obviously Oscar and Salem moment, so that was really interesting, and that's going to be a big point of, I think, a big focal point this volume, since Salem is, you know, here now, and she's going to be acting she's just gonna be commanding a lot of her pieces to get what she wants at the end of the day. And that cliffhanger at the end. I feel like every time we get like a spooky left off cliffhanger, like we got that for the apathy in that one episode where it was coming out of the where it was like creeping a little bit out of the cellar basement like door that was like locked up tight, like stuff like that. Just spooky moments. Again, another one with the I think the Knucklevi was kind of like teased in that way, where it was like going through the forest making its way to Kuroyuri. And we heard like the scream the episode before it's a visual reveal. So yeah, there's just been a lot of scary moments, and I feel like next week's chapter, it's the first day. Also, the first day of the volume is officially ending. I feel like the next couple of episodes is going to be the first night, and then the next 4 to 5 episodes might be the following day, and then the following night. So we're 24 hours through. We're almost 24 hours through the first sequence, or the first act of the volume, I think. All right, let's see. Eli Scarlett, happy to finally catch you live. Been watching your reaction since volume 3, and I love your positive energy and your wonderful insight into these episodes. Thank you so much for doing what you do. Thank you very much for the kind words, for the support. I hope you continue to enjoy the content. Thank you for tuning in live as well. Hopefully you're ready to hear me ramble for the next couple hours, but all things aside, I appreciate the support, everybody. Thank you guys all so much for tuning in, and we're going to jump into this right out the gate. And the first thing I want to showcase is something that you probably would only really see if you're on Twitter and maybe on the RWBY Facebook page. This has nothing to do with this episode. It really has to do with the first episode, technically. The keys that Pietro gave to Yang. It's not all that plot focused, but it is a little cool Easter egg for those of you who don't know. But this is the official concept art for the keys that that Pietro threw to Yang in the first episode, which then followed up with them going to going to his office and getting those hover bikes. As you can tell, the cricket, the grasshopper on the keys, Penny is a reference to Pinocchio, Pietro is a reference to Geppetto, the Monstra whale grim is a reference to Monstro, and of course the cricket is a reference to Jiminy Cricket at your service, all Pinocchio references. So, not that... Oh yeah, technically this is a screenshot. I meant screenshots from the episode, alright? Stop nitpicking. But yeah, so I just thought that this was cool to showcase, because I know this is probably something that would go under a lot of, go under the radar for most people if they're not, like, consistently on social media on a weekly basis like I am. But yeah, I thought this was really cool, because we don't really have... I guess Ciao Soleil could be seen as that replacement, you know what I mean? Like, Ciao Soleil was kind of like Penny's management of, during the Vital Festival tournament, and I always felt like Ciao was Penny's quote-unquote conscience, Penny's, the Jiminy Cricket to her Pinocchio. So, but with her no longer being in the show, no longer being in the action, I have no idea what's happening to her. No one talks about her on the RWBY, and, we are in Atlas after all. The only thing I can think of is they would just like blatantly be like, yeah, she died during the fall of Beacon, just to justify not having her in the show at this point. Who knows? Maybe she'll show up. Who's to say? But I very much doubt it, and I'm very much sad. That very much saddens me. But again, like I said, I thought the Jiminy Cricket keychain, the keys, was a really cool Easter egg, at the very least to show. All right. Now we're getting into the episode. Actually, let me double check real quick, because I feel like... Okay. We're still good. Okay, I lied. I have I have technically 3 screenshots besides the concept art. You guys just saw one of them, but I have no screenshots from this episode. If they're screenshots, they're from other things or other episodes, and there's only 2 more. So, yeah, someone was trying to come for me in the chat. They were like, I thought you said no screenshots. Oh, yeah, we'll take that. Anyways... Episode starts off back in the prison cell, so I have no idea how any of these characters are actually going to get out of this situation. They just threw Watts back into the brig, and, we're back here for a second time, and it's just like, hey, what are the inmates up to? How's everyone enjoying their time? You know, Robin's talking about like happy huntresses and, you know, their happy huntress moments. She mentions Joanna's never lost a fight, at least not a fair one. I don't really know what she means by that. I'm also still wondering if we're gonna see Joanna's semblance this volume, just because we've seen Fiona's, we've seen Robin's, we've seen May's, and Joanna's the only one. Maybe she doesn't have a semblance, but I feel like that would be really underwhelming, you know what I mean? Because semblances are the biggest pop-off, I think, to a character. I think when Volume 7 came out, we got like 10 different semblances from a bunch of different characters, the Aesops, and the majority of the Aesops and the Happy Huntresses. We found out Watts didn't have a semblance. We found out Ironwood had a semblance after the fact. So yeah. Yeah, I think a fair fight, she was like, maybe not one that was fair. I would only assume it's like Joanna can go toe, and that kind of reinforces why in the second episode she was like, you know, Fiona's grand uncle was like, there's a fight breaking out, and she's like, I got this, and she like cracks her neck, and she's like, all right, time to put in work. So Joanna's very much down to brawl, very much down to take anyone out. She's very confident in her abilities, and I think that, you know, this little story kind of just makes me wonder if we're gonna see her in a more combat-oriented style, light for the rest of this volume. I just really hope she has a semblance. I just want to see it and see how she interacts with, you know, what it is, you know, and how it kind of works. But yeah, hey, what's up, Dan? My guess is Joanna probably got ganged up on by a bunch of assholes. Yeah, I would, like I said, I think it would be like a 2v1, 3v1 situation where she's clearly outnumbered. But other than that, I thought that was a really cool, just, you know, she's just reminiscing on her happy huntresses. And I like the fact that, again, reinforcing what I talked about in the second chapter, the happy huntresses are doing very well off without their leader. You know what I mean? It's not like they're incapable of functioning as characters without her. And, you know, that was kind of almost like the opposite of Volume 7, where, you know, Robin Hill was at the forefront of everything the Happy Huntresses did. And so, with Robin being in prison, I will say it's kind of good to give the other Happy Huntresses their time in the spotlight. Hey, what's up, Dan? Welcome to the stream, buddy. Appreciate you being here, bud. And then, yeah, she's also trying to, like, cheer up Crow and stuff like that, because, you know, clearly he hasn't been feeling the best about the situation. You know, he's talking about, yo, we're gonna kill Ironwood and get out of here. He's the one who put us in here. But it seems like he's kind of taking a bit more of the responsibility that's happened. Also, the clip-on tie is losing to a fly. Also, that just kind of sucks that there's a fly stuck in this hard light dust, you know, this hard light dust, like, quarantine cell with you, and he's just like, no, get out of here, what are you doing? So it's just like the clip-on fly. Oh my god. Oh, that's a great pun. The clip-on fly. Oh, Jesus. Get out of here. That was so witty and clever. Yeah. In before, like, the fly, like, goes down his throat and he just chokes and dies on it. That would be very interesting if Jacques dies from a fly. In before it's like a grim fly. That'd be kind of funny. Very poetic. His name isn't Jacques, it's Jacques ass. You guys are already on your A game. Like 5 minutes into the discussion, you guys are already popping off. I love it. But yeah, so I do like that Crow isn't just blatantly being like, no, it was Tyrion's fault. Like, he acknowledges, like, yeah, I fucked up. Probably fed a little bit too much into my despair and my frustration and anger, because he clearly decided to follow up on Tyrion's deal of like, hey, you know, we have a score to settle. It's like, all right, let's put the kid to bed and then finish this. And he's like, deal. And then they both team up on Clover. Clover wasn't letting up either. I honestly think there's a bit of blame to go around for everybody. You know what I mean? Like, Robin threw the first punch. You know, Clover was very adamant to make sure that he kept, you know, yes, Tyrion was a fugitive, but so was Crow. You know what I mean? They were both equal objectives, I think, in Clover's eyes, since he was, you know, he ultimately wanted to uphold the law. And he didn't want to fight Crow. You know, Crow at the end of the day was like, I didn't do anything wrong, and I'm not going to let you just simply arrest me when, you know, the enemies are planning stuff, and clearly no one else knows what's actually going on. But I think there's a bit of blame to go all around, and Crow acknowledges that, yeah, he made a really stupid decision in teaming up with Tyrion, because Tyrion ultimately just, you know, he seized the opportunity to kill Clover, and so yeah, I definitely understand that. And then he goes on to talk about, like, you know, he acknowledges what he had in Clover, like a person that could have made his life more bearable, to not have to worry about his semblance, to not have to worry about, you know, just worrying that his semblance will cause misfortune for people around him, because Clover nullified that. And then he also goes on to say, you know, Clover's gone just like everybody else, which I'm pretty sure he's talking about Summer Rose, and how, you know, Team Stark probably got broken up as a result of that. You know, Raven going off and doing her own thing, Tai Yang kind of becoming a recluse and staying amongst himself on Patch. So I just like that this episode really kind of, we just got to know what was inside of the characters, like what they're thinking, what's on their mind, how it's affecting them, you know. And I like that it was with Robin and Crow here, and then again with Yang and Ren, two characters that really haven't had all that much interaction. And what's kind of funny is that I mentioned that in the first episode. I was like, that one scene in Volume 6 where Ren and Yang are the first two to hug each other kind of threw me off, because we've never seen them interact with each other in the show before. So it always just really was just like, I don't doubt that they're friends. I don't doubt that there's been development between them two off screen, but it's just the on-screen amount of time that these two have interacted has been minimal to none. So the fact that them two, like, really, like, they're the most emotional characters of their teams, you know, Yang for Team RWBY, Ren for Team Juniper. It was pretty cool to see, or pretty great rather, to see both of them stand their ground on their stances of how they felt things have been going so far with their fight against Salem. Let's see. Does slow chat affect mods? I'm not entirely sure. Just reading chat really quick. No, they're immortal. Yeah, I doubt mods are affected by slow chat. That would kind of limit their ability to moderate, which, again, I appreciate it, guys. But yeah, another thing I really liked is, and I never thought of this concept, and I think the implications are there for the episode. Robin mentions that, similar to how Crow's semblance prevents him from making, like, having deep, meaningful relationships with people, or even, like, pursuing people that he's interested in, or vice versa. Robin mentions that people who know about her semblance know that, you know what I mean? Like, it's probably the equivalent of if someone had, like, a mind reading semblance, and they were just able to hear what you were thinking 24 hours a day. You couldn't keep anything to yourself. It's a massive invasion of privacy, and it just makes you feel like you can't, like, feel a certain way without it affecting somebody else, like how they feel or how they'll react or respond to whatever you think. You know what I mean? That's why you have to think before you talk, before you open your mouth. And so Robin's equivalent is, I guess her semblance is, I don't know if her semblance is passive, because the way that she did it with Blake made it seem like you have to give consent. It's like when you hold someone's hand, you ask a question, you have to give the appropriate answer. I don't know if it's just based on touch, and it's just like, I don't know. I feel like it's more so like I ask a question, you give me an answer, and some people might see that as intrusive, or like, hey, I'm not all too comfortable with you just being able to see right through me 100%, because that removes a bit of agency and decision making for myself to decide what you do and don't know about someone. It doesn't make you like, it's just everyone has that choice to decide, you know, how transparent they want to be with someone. And obviously you would keep some things to yourself if you feel like other people don't need to know, it's none of their business, or whatever the case might be. So Yeah, some people may suspect that it's passive. I say that for a number of reasons, and I'm going to address that when we get to the Harriet moment. But again, similar to Crow's semblance, it affects Robin as well, where she can't really make meaningful relationships with, form meaningful relationships with people because it, you know what I mean? Like, people just don't know if that's something that you can really trust. Which is ironic, considering the semblance is a truth semblance, you know what I mean? It's like a truth serum. But yeah, I really liked this moment between them two. It kind of gave, obviously, meanwhile, Jacques is just in the background having the battle of his life with this fly, and, Watts isn't back in the room yet. So this was just a great moment between them two to kind of just, just like share a bit of their pain with each other, just so, there's a bit of relatability there and just helping each other through this process. I think that's what Crow needs now more than ever, because he's out for blood. And if he's able to acknowledge and identify, like, okay, clearly things didn't go well with Crow, I don't know how far along he's going to have that mindset, especially if he gets out of here and he's thinking to himself, okay, I have to go after Ironwood, first things first, Hey, Dashy, welcome to the stream. Long time no talk. How have you been? Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. Can't trust the truth teller, the irony. Yeah, pretty much. Hey, Killaxon. I'm doing my essay, but I hope you're all having fun. Gonna write an essay. That's what I say. I say that all the time. She says she has to write an essay. This is SpongeBob. It's so relevant no matter the situation. But yeah, long story short, I'm leaving. Goodbye. I'll talk to you later. But yeah, I just really liked this scene. A lot of character interactions. That's what I want a lot this volume. We got it from Ruby and Penny's perspective. We got it from Nora's perspective, like when she was like talking about Ren. We got it from Crow and Robin this episode. We got it from Ren and Yang this episode. So I'm like, that's what I want. I want to know what's on these characters' minds. I want characters that don't really interact with each other to open up and talk to them and just see that dynamic unfold in front of us. So really liked how this scene played out. Also, Watch just got like tossed back in here, so I don't know if he was able to make anything of Penny's sword being hacked. I don't know if Ironwood was like, okay, we got what we wanted. You're no longer needed. Okay, get the hell out of here. If he was able to do something like back-end hack or, initiate remote hacking for a later time, that's understandable. But as of right now, it just seems like he still has his rings. I believe Eddie said that was a modeling inconsistency, because, like, they would have to model a new character, they would have to model a Watts without his rings. I don't think he has the rings. I know for a fact that is confirmed as an animation error. So yeah, he does not have his rings anymore. RIP, because those rings were pretty badass during his fight with Ironwood. But yeah, I'm wondering how much he was able to do after getting Penny's sword before being thrown back in here. Because it doesn't seem like Ironwood needs him anymore. You know what I mean? So, I don't know if it's going to be Watts that hacks Penny, or if it's going to be Ironwood that hacks Penny, and then Watts is able to hack his hack and out-hack him and be like, I'm a better hacker, and, you know what I mean? It's going to be like some, like, 200 IQ galaxy brain shit by the end of the series, with Watts and Pietro fighting over Penny. So, that's kind of where we're at right now. Okay. So, I want to talk about this scene here. Obviously, Hare, massive chip on her shoulder, has a lot of frustration and anger pent up for what happened with Clover. Obviously, she's had this chip on her shoulder since Team RWBY decided to go against them. She's probably feeling a little defeated after losing to someone like RWBY, who she was kind of talking down to the entire time of their fight last volume. So she she has something to prove. Very overconfident, very cocky, very condescending. She is the competitive hare from the tortoise and the hare. So it all follows up with her character inspiration. William Pendragon, welcome back. Hare's conduct is very unprofessional, unfitting of an Atlas soldier. Per standard protocol, Marrow and I have already reported her to the General Specialist Schnee. has assured us after the current crisis, Hair will be judged at her pending trial. Thank you so much for your service. Where would we be without you, William Pendragon? I appreciate it. These are so witty and well thought out. Like, do you think of these on the spot, or is this like a week-to-week project for you? It's like, okay, you watch the episode and you're like, okay, how can I contribute to the live stream discussion? Thank you so much for the super chat, by the way. I really appreciate those. Those are incredibly generous of you. Thank you, thank you. She thinks she wants line was the best line. Also, Mercury is on Salem's good side for doing nothing. Well, he doesn't talk back, so that's already like, you know, you're gonna be in Salem's good graces if you don't disrespect or, you know, disregard what she's like. If you do the opposite of what Cinder is doing, you're always gonna be in Salem's good graces. So like I was saying, Hair being very aggressive, being very confrontational, and Robin hit the nail on the head. It's like, you don't want the truth. You want someone to target your anger and frustration at, and you're trying to take it out on Crow. You're not even the one that's listening to the situation. And why the fuck would Crow kill Clover? And you're not even questioning the situation of like, oh, well, what about Tyrion? You know what I mean? Like, clearly she's being ignorant for the sake of her emotions being out of whack. What I do want to talk about is Robin's semblance, because Robin immediately said, if you don't believe us, then take my hand. But does that then mean that Robin's semblance is a two-way street? Like, Robin can get information from said person, but said person can also ask questions and get answers out of Robin. Because we've only seen it be from one end to the other, right? Robin, you know, asks the question. And, I mean, technically, I guess we saw it between her and Ironwood. So I guess, like, as long as someone is talking and her hand is green, they're true. Like, what they're saying is true. I guess that was the example that they gave last volume. Take my hand. Yeah, when she's like, take my hand. I didn't think about it during my reaction, but during my discussion in the Discord, when she's like, take my hand, I immediately thought of like the opening to Hero. But yeah, so she's like, well, take my hand then, and you'll find out the answers because I know the truth. So if Hair takes her hand, would Hair get the objective truth from her? You know what I mean? Because usually it's the other way around. It's a visual representation, but it's from Robin's perspective of what's the truth. So yeah. That just made me think, like, if it's a two-way street, and maybe that... I don't know. I do think that might be the case. That's the implication. I do want to see if you know, I mean, I'm gonna tweet and see if someone on the writing team will address that, because obviously it's kind of mentioned, you could kind of observe that in this scene, but you know, to have confirmation would be great. So let's see. How would Robin know Crow is telling the truth? She was yeah, see, that's the one thing though. Like, Robin wasn't awake, so I guess it's based on what Robin... Maybe it's truth from Robin's perspective, but, like, Robin has no reason to suspect that Crow would kill Clover. Like, Tyrion's the villain, Tyrion's no longer around, and Clover's dead. You know what I mean? Like, at the very least, Crow is acknowledging and admitting that he had a hand in, like, muddying the waters of that outcome, but I think it's fair to say that Robin believes Crow enough to know that Crow didn't. Well, the thing too is that she probably, I don't know if she would have been able to ask him, because when she woke up, the police were already there. Maybe when they were on their way back to the airship, because they were sitting side by side with each other. So if they were sitting side by side with each other on their way up to Atlas, she could have asked him at that point. He tells her, I didn't kill her. That's objective truth. Now she knows for certain that he didn't do it. And now that's why. I think that's the best answer you're going to get. Yeah, also the whole faith thing, like she just has faith in Crow. But if you want like a more definitive explanation, I think their traveling back up on the airship to Atlas was probably the one and only time that she would have been able to ask him like, hey, what actually happened? But yeah, I think that's the best answer you're gonna get as of right now. Let's see. Also, so I do want to follow up on this because again, Hair was kind of popping off a little bit, acting up, and Marrow again being the mediator, being the voice of reason at this point, which is interesting because he's the rookie of the group. He's the youngest of the Aesops, and he's kind of acting a bit more professional and I guess fair in all situations, and he isn't abusing his power as much as someone like Hair. And I do feel like the major conflict is going to be between these two Aesops, Hair and Marrow. You know, the fastest character and like the most broken of the Aesops. Yeah, he's very level-headed. He's not letting her, just because she's like huffing and puffing and you know, walking around like she owns the place, it doesn't intimidate him to where he's like, hey, what are you doing? Stop acting up. You know? So I do think that they're slowly working towards maybe Marrow being a little bit more lenient with the characters as time goes on. Maybe even full blown like decides to like help them stop the you know, help Team RWBY and company with their plans. I know we've been speculating on this for a while, ever since last volume, so maybe moving forward that'll be the case with Marrow, because I do think he's very earnest in his actions. He's very conflicted, and he thinks about it a lot, and you see it in his facial expressions and how he reacts to certain situations, like not wanting to fight Team RWBY last volume, mentioning that, you know, they were only holding back this volume, and even his you know, the way that he looked back at Team RWBY and kind of reflected on what they were doing before they ran off with Penny's sword in the last episode. So yeah, I do think that Marrow would be a perfect counter to Hair, should Hair go off the deep end and act up in that regard. And I think Ironwood would let her do that too. Like, he's definitely, I don't know if he's channeling their anger and frustration at this point to kind of make them see things in a specific way, to get what he wants. You know what I mean? Because they were almost gaslighting RWBY. I'm sorry, they were almost like gaslighting Penny last episode, you know, saying that she's hurting people and that more people are going to die because of her, and like that Winter's in her situation because of her, and that Penny stole the power on purpose. So either they're being heavily indoctrinated and taken advantage of by Ironwood, or, you know, some of them are just deciding to not want to listen to reason, which, given their emotional state, I don't blame them. But that's kind of how things went with this scene. I really liked it. Like I said, I don't think anything else is going to be happening with these guys unless somehow they break out of here, which again, I would assume maybe Team RWBY or someone would have to find where they are. But up until now, we're probably just going to have to wait and see how or who breaks these guys out. Let's see. I have a question. 123 Anaya 14. Would Neo betray Cinder if she finds out that Roman died to a Grimm, considering Salem is kind of the mother of the Grimms? I think Neo, well, I mean, the main theory right now, is that I think Neo cares more about who put Roman in the line of fire to be killed. You know what I mean? Like, Salem didn't know about Neo, which means Salem probably didn't know about Torchwick, which means Torchwick was hired as an underling for Cinder specifically. He was put into that situation that he didn't want to be in, and he even said, I can't stop these people, you can't stop these people, RWBY. If you can't beat them, join them. And yeah, he was kind of ultimately forced to continue working with Cinder, despite, you know, even in Volume 1, he was like, you know, you're the one who decided to work with those stupid mutts with the white fang. And she's like, and you'll continue to work with them whether you like it or not, you know, coercing him. So he ended up dying in that situation because he was forced into that situation. And so I think ultimately that's what Neo cares about more. Even if it was a Grimm that killed him, he was put in that situation because of Cinder. So Cinder is ultimately her target, the target for her frustration. Let's see. Cinder's gonna got this volume. Salem. Yeah, I think Salem is gonna kill Cinder. Like, I mentioned that in the intro discussion, but I think it's more and more on board. I think it's more and more possible, especially with how Cinder just doesn't know how to fucking listen to orders. But yeah. Anyways, so that's the end of the prison scene. This scene, oh my god, this fight sequence was great, man. This was so high action, high energy. The music kicked in just right. Everyone was kind of like, everyone had a little bit of time to shine, especially Ren and Jean in this episode. Obviously, the top scene, one of the last moments of the trailer. Also, that's another thing too. There are no more scenes from the trailer, so everything moving forward from now is going to be completely blind, completely new. I will no longer be saying in my reactions, oh, that's from the trailer. This scene's from the trailer. Remember this part? I remember this, like, line for line, what happened in the trailer. So everything is just going to be completely blind moving forward, which is fun, which is great. The next 10 episodes is, we're traveling into the unknown now. But yeah, so everyone was kind of right that Grim was carrying Oscar. We didn't know what exactly the Grim was, and that it could talk and everything else like that. But yeah, the scene is primarily a chase scene. I really liked how the whole scene played out, the environment. This actually reminded me a lot of the like the similar fight sequence with Weiss in Volume 5. Yeah, Volume 5 with the airships and the Lancers and the Queen Lancer, right? Using the terrain, using the environment, flying around and shit like that. This one they're on hover bikes, so that's pretty cool as well. And we got a new song in this one too, so that was really fun and exciting. One thing that I will say here though is that I noticed some people were criticizing the fact of like, oh my god, how are these bikes not able to handle the winter, like the cold and stuff like that? Isn't that what they're built for? Pietro said that these bikes were a work in progress, something that he was working on. I'm pretty sure he wasn't expecting, you know, Yang's team to take these out into the tundra and go for like hyper, like MLG joyrides, you know, within the confines of the city. I think they were practical, but yeah, these were mainly prototypes that Pietro was working on. So the fact that they're breaking down in the tundra, in my opinion, makes perfect sense to why they would just start acting up and being a little bit wonky. And the fact that they're like pushing these bad boys to their limit and they're clearly falling apart because they can't keep up with the Grim. So they're not 4WD. Is that like a car engine reference? I don't get it. I'm sorry. Yeah, the Hound is blind, but like I said, I assume it has like echolocation. It has to know where it's going. All of it, because it's blind, its sense of hearing is heightened. It could be on the level of like Toph for all we know. Oh, 4-wheel drive. I've never heard it as like 4WD. I know what if you said 4-wheel drive, I'd understand what you were saying. I've just never seen it be abbreviated like that. They're pod racing. But yeah, I really like the sequence. I like how it ultimately played out. This scene was so freaking awesome, where I was like, dude, another pop off for Gravity Dust, because if not for Gravity Dust, they wouldn't have been able to pull off this one cool sequence right here, where like he just catapults Ren into the sky. The setup for that was just really freaking cool. And like I also noticed in the bottom scene here, Jean needs to constantly have 2 hands on the vehicle at all times, because he also like had a little bit of a moment like that when he was driving in the city and he was like looking over to Ren and he like ran over one of those like some of the debris in the street and he almost fell off the bike there too. So I don't know if I don't know if Jean is perfectly qualified to drive this thing for the most part. But yeah, I just thought this scene was super freaking cool. It also kind of reminded, so technically I guess that's all of the, I guess the only other character now, hold on, let me think about this. Yeah, he catapulted Nora in volume 1. He catapulted Ren in this episode. So unfortunately, Pyrrha was the only one who didn't get the shield hop from her boy. But yeah, I wonder if that is maybe like, I don't know, I don't think it's like a reference or anything like that, but it did remind me of that as well. Was Pyrrha in the Vital Festival tournament? Holy shit, everyone got catapulted? Oh, I'm trying to think. Hold on, let me think. Oh, yeah, when she blocked the sniper from Mei Zedong. Oh my god. Everyone got a catapult jump. Oh, that's so freaking cool. Not gonna lie, completely forgot about Team Bronze. I think actually most of them died in the Fall of Beacon, if not all of them. Oh my god, that's so cool. Oh man, and then he technically like self-hopped himself off of that, like off of the bike, off the Grim, and then onto that on that one platform. Holy crap, that's so yeah, I'm ultimately willing, I want to believe now that that's actually like a reference. It's like, yo, Jean's got his whole team, he's the ultimate support. Oh, that's so neat. I really hope that that was intentional. Arnold, how could you forget? I mean, that was a long time ago. I also didn't go back to, like, clarify or look into that, to be honest. And the chat was ultimately what reminded me of that. So that wasn't even a point that I was going to make until I saw someone make it. And then I was like, wait a minute. And I was trying to think, like, okay, Nora in Volume 1, that makes sense. But, like, the bronze fight is, like, completely out of my mind. Like, I completely forgot about that fight in particular. Like, the moment-to-moments. So, yeah. Wow, that's so cool. That's so awesome. That just makes this scene even cooler to me now. Yeah. Damn, I'm so happy for for Jean's development. He's become such a great character. I also wanted to emphasize this moment right here that Ren was getting absolutely bodied by this Grim. I don't know how this man's aura didn't break. He banged into like 7 different structures as he was flying, being dragged across the entire, the entire canyon. And he's like, what's a landing strategy? But yeah, Ren was getting absolutely like thrashed this entire sequence. It was quite the spectacle. I do like the amount of the level of impact for this shot right here. That's why I wanted it to be slow motioned. And look at that. The Grim is so smart. Because the Grim is purposely flying in that way to like in that specific angle to know that at the very end he's gonna whiplash into that structure, despite it being blind. So I do think it has some like supernatural sense. Even though it doesn't have physical eyes, it can still see, it can still sense in that regard. So I think the animation for this scene looked really, really good. Also, Oscar's just chilling in that thing's mouth, which is very unsettling to know that it can just hold this kid's entire body from chest to back, like fully engulfed in its mouth. So yeah, I did mention echolocation earlier, Tanuki, but I mean, there's no confirmation of that, and I don't want to specifically just say, like, oh yeah, echolocation, because it's suspended in midair, which means that, unlike Toph, who, like, can feel the vibrations on the ground, I think if Toph isn't grounded to something, she can't see. Or if her feet are burned, she can't see. Or she can't see well in that regard. But, like, because this thing's in the air, you also have to take, like, wind into account and all that other stuff. So, or maybe because Ren is, like, grappled to him, like, the vibrations of, like, the movement on, like, the end of the cord of his weapon, that could give it some level of sight. But yeah, ultimately, I really, really, really liked the animation here. I like how Ren was getting thrashed around. Very surprised, like I said, that his aura didn't break, because it's kind of like, my guy, how are you, like, you know what I mean? Then again, I was really surprised that Yang's aura didn't break when the Grim grabbed her by the face and, like, full-on slammed her ass into that wall. I was like, yeah, I was expecting her aura to break at some given point. But, as time goes on, I'm pretty sure you can strengthen the resolve of your or strengthen the endurance or the I guess the longevity of your aura the more you use it and stuff like that. So he hasn't really been in that big of a skirmish to where it would be an issue. However, I think he's one of the characters who, I don't know if his aura was the lowest by the time they were in the tundra walking through the snow, and you see that one clip, because he took more of a beating than anybody else on their team. So yeah, he's like, I'm doing the, he's like, Ren, hold on. He's like, I don't have much of a choice, my guy. It's like, I'm on this ride whether I want to be on it or not. So there was a little bit of comedy in that too, like the little running animation as he's running up. That was really great. So I just put this entire compilation here because like Ren popped off. Ren like was putting in so much work, and I feel like to an extent he is definitely justified in being frustrated by the fact that he could have saved Oscar. He could have like stopped that Grim. He could have had a chance if Yang just was looking where she was driving. Long story short, guys, it's all Yang's fault. I'm actually joking about that. Some people actually do think it's all her fault, and I feel like people targeting Yang for a lot of different reasons is really starting to piss me off and annoy me a little bit. So, no, like it's shit like that happens, and it's a good thing Ren was there to back them up and save them. But yeah, really, dude? I mean, I was joking. I like how Jean's aura is higher since he has more of it. I like that attention to detail. Yeah. Also, he wasn't really, I don't think he really took all that much damage, if at all, this episode. I don't think him or Yang did. Ren is actually getting like bodied by these rocks. Or, you know what I mean? His aura could be, obviously his aura is completely protecting him because these are like calculated hit after hit after hit. He's seeing it coming. You know what I mean? He has to brace for it. But yeah. But yeah, I still think that Ren is definitely justified, and I completely understand like his line of thinking in this regard. We had a really good discussion on the chapter this past weekend, me and a couple of buddies, to where you can definitely see where Ren's mindset lies on the situation of like where he feels like they're not ready versus Yang's, where she feels like every little bit, of their contribution helps regardless of the end result. But yeah, I think this fight sequence went really, really well. This was a full-on, I don't know if any of you guys have seen the anime. I'm not going to spoil anything because I don't, like, if you haven't seen it, it's definitely worth watching, even though I'm not caught up. I've only seen the first 2 seasons. But this was a complete Attack on Titan vibe for me, where the Grimm shouted and all of its underlings just came out the woodwork. That happens in season 1 of Attack on Titan. I'm gonna leave it at that. That's something that happens in season 1, and I was like, oh my god! Like, the Grimm are already... I remember when I remember actually when the... I think it was when the World of Remnants were coming out, and we started learning a bit about the Grimm, about how they attack mankind and all of their creations, how they don't need to eat, they choose to eat, how, when they die, they decompose, like, they evaporate. And all 3 of those references are heavily mirrored for the exact same thing of the Titans. And at that time, we didn't know the Grimm's origin either. I don't know if the Grimm's origin's revealed. Like I said, I've only seen the first 2 seasons, and that wasn't answered. And I think season 4 of Attack on Titan is coming out this month. But yeah, so I immediately was like, holy shit, that is so cool. That reminds me of Attack on Titan. I really, really liked that. And just all the Grimm just start coming out the woodwork and helping out. So again, holy shit. So you have the giant wyvern who can spawn Grimm. You got this Grimm who can summon other Grimm. And so I really hope we get more like boss level Grimm like this that are threatening, that are super intelligent, that give the heroes and the protagonist a real fight and a real challenge. But yeah, and then we also got the new song too. Yeah, in the Salem even said in the end, killing is all that matters, which is kind of unsettling. All things considered. I guess killing is all that matters because, you know, you got to keep killing Ozpin over and over and over again. So, Bioluminescent Josh, thank you so much for becoming a channel member. I appreciate that. If you link your YouTube and Discord, you'll have access to my server. Thank you so much for the support. Jean Arc MVP, I agree, Gorilla Geek. Jean was popping off and doing his thing as well. Did I miss the Robin and Crow semblance talk scene? Yes, you did. A lot of I think poignant moments to be had during that moment. One of the best moments of the episode, and we had like a brief but very I guess I think the discussion portion of that was really good. Hindsight 2020, seriously 2020. Yep. And 2020 is a bitch right now. We have 1 month left, chat. We can do it. We can make it through this. I fucking believe in you, okay? I believe in every single one of you. And then when 2020 is over, guess what? We can literally say to everybody who comes after, I survived 2020. I made 2020 my bitch. But yeah, this year's been awful. Like, I just want it to be done. I almost want to I want to like repress this year completely. The only good things that really came out of this year was RWBY Volume 8, Persona 5 Royal coming out, Genshin Impact coming out, and me starting Red vs. Blue season, the Chorus Trilogy. That's literally it. Like, every other part of this year has just been pretty shite, not gonna lie. Or not that memorable for the most part. But yeah, at the very least, if we're still in the same situation, at least 2021 will actually be more well-equipped and prepared to deal with it. This year, it kind of just like slapped us in the face and just came out of nowhere, you know? That's all I can really say. Other than that, Grim sequence, really great. The music, the first song of the volume, with the exception of the opening, I don't know the name of it. It's such a good song. Like, she mentions like the sky is falling. It's like I don't know if that's a falling towards the sky or I may fall moment, but I really, really liked that. I just really, really, really can't wait for the soundtrack. I like how we only got one song so far. Because I think in volume, I don't know how they were distributing songs. I remember, so I'm already like relating this volume a lot to volume 5, right? Volume 5 gave us most of the songs during the character shorts before the volume actually came out. So we had Ignite, Smile, Path of Isolation, the intro song, and then I think I don't know if the first episode gave us a song. But we got a lot of the songs in, obviously the end credit song too, but a lot of the songs were given to us before that volume even came out. So this one, we got the first song in the 4th episode, and also there was no fight sequence in the first episode of both of those volumes, Volume 5 and Volume 8. Those are the 2 volumes that also are the only ones that have 14 chapters each. So I feel like there's a lot of things that are similar about these volumes, but drastically different. We can already tell, you know, 4 episodes into this one that structurally it's a lot different in terms of how they're telling the story and all that stuff. But yeah, I'm really excited. I hope that they sprinkle these songs. Like, I do want some surprises though. I remember, man, I fucking remember. I remember Volume 1. I didn't know that they put some of the snippets of the songs in the credits. Because I never really watched the credits until, like, Volume 3, Volume 4 for, like, voice acting credits and character names. But, I didn't know that I May Fall was in, like, the 2nd episode credits. So when I got the soundtrack and I heard that song for the first time, I was like, and Gold, too. I didn't know they put Gold at the end, too. So, like, Gold and I May Fall were genuine, like, surprises to me. Like, there were genuine surprises to me where I was like, wow, like, brand new songs that wasn't, you know, a part of any of the character trailers or wasn't at the end credit scene or in the episodes. So, I don't know, man. Like, I just hope that they keep some of the songs a surprise. I really just don't want everything to be given out in the show in particular. Also, for those of you who weren't around during the Volume 1 days, the Volume 1 soundtrack was available for purchase the same day the finale came out. So things have definitely changed since the early days of the show. The soundtrack was available for purchase the day of the finale. A lot of people don't remember that. Volume 2's soundtrack was available a week after the finale also. But that was great too. The fact that the soundtracks were a lot closer to the release. But then obviously when they switched to the fall. Also, a lot of people don't remember this, but RWBY used to come out at night. It used to come out at like 5 p.m. I think for first members, 8 p.m. for free members. And it was also on Thursdays. It wasn't on the weekends. So I think the fact that they moved it to the winter holidays, like the winter holiday New Year season, and they put it out in the morning, it's probably the best thing they could have done for the show in the long term. So yeah, just a little history lesson for you guys, for those of you who might have gotten into the show after the fact. Just a quick show of hands in the chat. When did you guys get into RWBY? Like what volume? I guess I should just say, just to see if that information was relevant to anyone who might not have been watching during volume 1. Holy shit, my chat's like broken. Oh my god. Oh my god. Yo, mods, I'm so sorry. The chat just went faster than I've ever seen by asking that one question. Okay, so it seems like majority of y'all got into the show after long after, like volumes 2, most of y'all volume 3, most volume 3 and 4. Okay, I see some volume 1s in there. Shout out to the OG squad. God, imagine I didn't have slow chat on. Forget about it. Forget about it. That's just cool. That's cool to... I know, like, everyone has a different story for how they got into the show. Luckily, I was at the right place at the right time when I got into the show, because I was able to start by when the first episode came out. I had seen all the trailers by that point. The Yang trailer actually came out on my birthday, June 2nd, 2013. Go figure. So that was a little birthday gift to myself. Despite the fact of that, I actually like the Black trailer a lot. I think the Black trailer I haven't watched them in ages, but I think the Black trailer might be my favorite. Maybe. The Red trailer is just so fucking iconic. You can't deny you can't deny the Red trailer at all. It's so good. But yeah, anyways, let us continue on, because I do feel like I'm getting a little bit off topic. Long story short, liked the Attack on Titan references here, or rather parallels, of what I noticed of the parallels, and that's kind of cool that the Grimm can summon other Grimm. I wish there was a lot more variety of Grimm in this region, not gonna lie, but with the end credits, with the ending of the episode, it seems like we're gonna get a brand new Grimm, and I think I know what we're gonna be getting. So for those of you who don't know, we'll talk about that when we come to it. So, again, I'm talking about it right here. Jean has leveled up so much. Like, this entire moment right here is just like, Jean, like, bam, bam, get out of here. What are you guys doing? Like, just absolutely eviscerating Grimm left, right, and center. And then, like, Ren's trying to do his thing. Yang's, throwing out a little bit of pot shots here and there to get the Grimm's attention. So she's kind of, like, assisting. She ends up helping Jean at the very end, too. So that kind of works out. And then Ren, his eyes on the prize. Cute boy Oz. He's like, I got you, my guy. You'll be safe pretty soon. Don't worry. And then obviously he has to cut himself loose to help out the gang. So I can definitely see where he'd be like, dude, I was right fucking there. Y'all really could. Like, I had to get battered and bruised the entire time, and I had to save you guys. So I can understand him being a little bit tilted by that. Kermit Clinton. I can't tell who I simp for more. Elm's bear hug or Harriet's thigh crush. Also, I got into RWBY immediately after after RWBY, the Chorus trilogy. I didn't know, I didn't even know that about the trailers until after Volume 1. Okay. Not bad. Yeah, because the Chorus trilogy, I think the Chorus trilogy happened after Volume 1, right? It was like RWBY Volume 1, then RWBY 11, then RWBY Volume 2, then RWBY 12, then RWBY Volume... Is it that, or is it like the reverse? Was it like RWBY... Was it Chorus, then Volume 1? I don't remember. I just know that RWBY premiered at the end of RWBY 10. It's the reverse? Okay. I wasn't around at the time. I don't know what I'm talking about. But yeah, again, I really think Jean and Ren carried this sequence. Like, they're just constantly doing shit. Yang's bending corners, doing what she does best, because obviously she used to have her motorcycle, so I think that's kind of cool. Yang does not suck at driving, Black Rose. How dare you? How dare you? Okay? She wasn't watching where she was going, but she was, like, bending and twisting and moving all around. I think Yang's great at driving, especially in the snow on a bike that she's just been driving for, like, the last hour. I think she was bending corners. Put her in the Daytona 500. I'll bet on her. But yeah, I liked this entire sequence. Obviously, oh my god, you know what? Screw the top sequence. This was such a clean fucking moment, dude. Hold on. Let's enhancing. This was such a great moment. I liked the camera, how it like follows Jean, and even like how it stutters, like how it like tilts left and right when he's off balance. I just think that's really like, I don't know, it's just a charming part of the scene. And he just like bunny hops off the bike, bunny hops off of a Grim with the gravity, and then just gets saved by Yang. I like the little camera wobbles. It's, I don't know, it's just a little, like, just a cute little camera addition. But this was super cool. This was super cool, man. And then Yang coming in with the assist. Yeah. Yeah, the scene was great. Like, I like a good chase scene. You know what I mean? Motorcycles in, like, a mountain canyon area with a bunch of enemies, and you're just, like, fighting, you know, racing for your life, also trying to save, like, your little cute boy Oscar, you know, protector of the world friend. And you got like a super serious Grim. I don't know. Every so often I like moments like this. It's kind of like the highway chase scene in Volume 2. Like I said, the Queen Lancer airship scene in Volume 5. Every so often we get moments like this. And, you know, I think they're always great. Chef's kiss to the animation and camera motion. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you got some Grim in the background that are just vibing out. They're just like, hey, I'm just here for the show. I'm just watching my brethren fuck this up for us. So yeah, you can actually see when like Jean jumps right here, you see some Grim in the background. They're just vibing. They're just chilling, dude. They got nothing else going on. But yeah, Volume 1, Jean could not do this shit, dude. Like, Jean has come so far. He's so much more. He's so coordinated. He's so good, man. He's such a great character. I feel like, really, if you were to go back to Volume 1, Jean, you would just be like, oh my god, you are so helpless. Like, so helpless. Like, my god, so awful. You know? And he was way in over his head back then. But I think the ends justify the means for him. You know, it's, you know, even despite what Ren said. Yeah, Ren, you might have been spitting facts, kind of messed up the way you went about it. But like, look at where Jean is now. To say like, well, it doesn't matter because you cheated your way into the school. Well, look at the end result. That's all Ren cares about is the end result. So look at where Jean is now. You know what I mean? In his case, the ends probably do justify the means. But like I said, I really, really liked that moment. This was a really cool part too. Rest in peace, the shield grenade. I really hope he has more of those like in his pocket, because if not, he just sacrificed it, which is really upsetting because we just got that in the last episode. A necessary sacrifice. Yeah. He had to sacrifice the shield so the team could live. But yeah, that was such a, like a pro gamer moment right there where he's just like thinking on his feet like, yo, I got the perfect ramp idea. Let's do this. But yeah, I know Jean was just really in fighting form. Like he was like in rare form this episode. You know, everyone was contributing, and I think that was like, again, a really good sequence overall for this entire scene, for this entire chase sequence. Another Fortnite reference. I don't play Fortnite, so I don't know what you're referring to. I don't know. Do they have shield ramps in Fortnite? I don't know. The DMV of Remnant, Jean leveled up. Vomit Boy is a beast. He went from Vomit Boy to Puke Man. I don't know. I don't know. I have no answer for that. I apologize, chat. I was trying to think on my feet. Oh, the pocket ramp. I feel like Puke Man is a downgrade. Yeah, there's like a little animation mess up there because like in that top scene right here where Yang is driving right towards the Grim, there's no rock in the way between it, but then in the bottom scene that rock was conveniently placed there just so they had an out, which I'll give you that. That's an oopsie right there, but I don't give a shit because the scene was still pretty cool. But yeah, all good things must come to an end, and in this case, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, keep your eyes on the goddamn road. I don't know why they thought it was a good idea. Well, Yang thought it was a good idea to take her eyes off of the snow-covered road. Yeah, end of the road, literally. But yeah, the bike also got, like, pretty bodied right there. I do like how this kind of was, like, a really good setup for the following scene where they're like walking through and they're trying to fix the bike to get back to civilization. This part, like where like both of them fell off the cliff and he like dug his sword in the ground, the screams they made, I thought they were gonna die. I'm like, those are like life-threatening screams, like, yo, we're literally about to die right now. And then your boy Ren just comes in and absolutely saves the day. Like, Ren was the actual MVP of this entire sequence. I'm not taking any criticism on that. I don't want to hear y'all's opinion. It's wrong, all right? I'm just kidding, of course. But yeah. Also, this is another trailer scene where Yang's, like, super serious, like, oh, holy shit, manga-esque eyes. A lot of people thought that that was something that it wasn't. You know, some people were like, wait, Yang's only been like that when it's, you know, when her friends have been in danger or whatever. I feel like a lot of people were expecting or hoping for that to be something a little bit more character-oriented. But I think we've had enough of that for now, okay? I don't want Yang to have to be like, you know, looking devastatingly maybe at like a teammate dying or something. Like, no thank you, I'd rather not. Looking at the end of a road and her potentially falling to her death, I prefer that over, you know, and you know, they have a chance of surviving. They have landing strategies in the show. We've seen it before. This is nothing to them. So that's kind of where I'm at right now with this sequence. I really liked it. Ren came back, had to abandon the objective, which is, again, I'm pretty sure that's what set him off. At that point, he was like, because he even tells Yang, like, multiple times, like, yeah, I had to cut you guys loose. I had to cut loose to save you guys because, you know, you can't help yourselves. Cliffhanger at the end of a cliff? You don't say. But yeah, overall, I really like this entire sequence. A good chase scene, good music. Good display of fighting capabilities from everybody involved, and the setup is really good for what happens with this group afterwards. But we're going to leave it from there because now we got the Schnee Manor. This was very brief of a moment. I know that Whitley and Willow are in the intro, so we have 10 episodes left, so I don't really know how much more screen time they're going to give to dedicate to Willow and Whitley. Everybody in the manor's gone, by the way. The butlers, the maids, all of them are gone. So it's just Whitley and their mother in this giant house. The, clip-on ties in prison. We have no idea where Klein is still. And I swear to God, if they don't put Klein in here, they're gonna get like, they're gonna hear about it on twitter.com. I swear to God, they better bring Klein back. Surprised he hasn't come back yet. But, I don't know, maybe Klein will come back and try to cheer up Willow or something. Like, where is this man? But yeah, yeah, everybody in the house is gone. It's just Whitley and Mother, who's locked herself in her room. So Whitley is literally at the house by himself, like actually alone, like with nobody. So I'm pretty sure he's gassed to have his sister there, even though he's being a little tsundere about it. You know, it's like, would you rather just be here by yourself than with a couple of fugitives? Your sister being one of them. You know what I mean? He's like, we have a reputation. It's like, bro. It's the apocalypse. No one gives a shit about your shitty reputation. That's gone down the drain now that your father's basically an accessory to like murder and conspiracy and treason and everything else in the book. So I also love how she was like, you know, the house is in disarray after what you did to father. And it's just like, he did that shit to it. I love how he's just immediately dismissing what his dad did. It's like, bro, do you even know what the father did? And you're just immediately defending him. But yeah, I hope Klein comes back. I wonder how Mercury, who was abused by his father as a child, will see Hazel beating a child. I feel like he's just gonna look past. It's like, well, I mean, that's really Ozpin. I mean, he's beating the shit out of Oscar, but like, he's just a proxy. Like, all of those beatdowns and everything else like that is for Ozpin. It just so happens that Oscar is kind of in the way of that. So, you know, it is what it is. It is what it is. Anyways, still can't wait for some Whitley screen time and hopefully some redemption. I don't think Whitley really, I don't think that's the right word for Whitley. Whitley doesn't really need redemption. He's just like, he's molded that way by his upbringings. Redemption would be like you did something really shitty, really fucked up, and you have to right the wrongs of you have to prove and try to express being a changed, being a different person. He just needs like a wake-up call. He needs like a reality check. The bubble around him needs to be popped. You know what I mean? Like, he's no different than Weiss was when Weiss was here. Weiss had to leave Atlas, be exposed to other people, other cultures, other races to really come into her own as a person. You know what I mean? Like Weiss is one of the best characters in the show for the sake of her massive development shift from, you know, hoity-toity, bitchy princess of Atlas, you know, heiress of Atlas, to where now she cares more about the people and Remnant and her friends and, you know, treating everyone fairly and not judging a book by its cover. Like, Weiss is actually best girl in this show in that department. And Whitley is just a product of his environment. And I don't think that's a redemption thing. I think, like I said, that's more of a developmental, like, you've been living in this bubble your entire life. This is all you know. And the only way you're going to break out of that is the only way you're going to get out of that situation is if you break out of it, or if you change behaviors, or if something changes in the household first, if he is too young to travel, or, you know, he's not really like a huntsman in that regard. So the mother, your parents have to be the one to instill that in you. Jacques is out of the picture now, and Jacques was the main influence of why Whitley went down this path. So I think Willow just needs to step up. Like, I really think she needs to, I don't know who she's going to hear it from. I don't know if Weiss needs to give her like a stern daughter, mother pep talk of like, look, your kids are more put together than you are. I understand that you haven't had a fair shake. I understand, you know, being with someone like Jacques is going to make you, is going to cause you to become this way. But now that he's out of the picture, you have a new clean slate. You're the head of this house. You are the bloodline of the Schnee family. And we kind of need you now. So I really think I think there just needs to be like a family sit-down moment with these three. I don't know about these three, but with Weiss and Willow, and then maybe Willow and Whitley. Because we don't even know how we don't even know how Whitley and Willow interact. You know what I mean? And it's very clear that Whitley doesn't really like his sisters all that much. And it's understandable why, you know what I mean? They probably weren't even around that much. But other than that, yeah, I'm very excited to see where things go with the... I'm really excited to see where things go with his character. And again, Willow, because they're briefly in the opening. And Winter's in the opening too, but I don't know if Winter's going to come back home. Maybe if she knows that Jacques' in prison, she'll go back for her family. You know, maybe the mother. Because that's always something that I wanted to know too. I've always wanted to have Winter and Willow interact too. Because that's her oldest child. And it's just like, how do you feel about your family at the end of the day? You know what I mean? I remember when she first walked to the door with Ironwood and Whitley like greeted them, and she just like pretended she didn't even respond to his existence at all. And clearly she lashed out at her father during the dinner meeting because she just can't stand his guts. We know how she feels about Weiss. You know, she's very proud of her. She's like a proud older sister, but I don't know how she feels about her mom. And I just really wish we got that moment. I just don't know if the situation would ever line up for that to happen, you know? Also, the whole go to your room thing was really funny. It's like, father, you're under arrest. Little brother, go to your room. Mother, get off your ass and start acting like a parent. You know? Like, Weiss is actually, like, the saving grace of the Schnee family name. I absolutely love it. She's the one actually making... Hey, and it's what Ironwood said in Volume 5, or Volume 4. He was like, she's the only one making sense around here. Yeah, she arrested her dad. She grounded her brother. She's going to give her mother a stern talking to. I love it. Absolutely love it. Like I said, absolute best girl. I wholeheartedly believe that. We had okay, I'm gonna stop with this meme because clearly they've interacted a lot more than I've let on, especially at this point. But it's just like, holy shit, RWBY and Blake are interacting with each other. Another moment that I have to praise in this episode because we rarely see them interact. Yeah, I used to always say that all the time. Like, one of the first times Blake and Yang like talked to each other was Volume 1 before they were even on a team. And then I think the next time we saw them talk to each other was Volume 5 when, like, she met back up with them after the Battle of Haven. But, yeah, that's clear. I'm clearly memeing at this point. But, yeah, I do like, we got little moments between them two. I like that. And she was like, yo, if you're worried about your sister... And this reminds me of Volume 3 especially because the last time they were separated, Yang got her arm cut off. And so I guess I'll talk about this right now because, you know, I feel like also, holy shit, there's 1,200 people in here. I've been rambling for the last hour and a half. I didn't even notice. Thank you guys all so much for tuning in. Make sure you guys hit the like button if you haven't already. I'd greatly appreciate that. It helps out the stream. It helps out people discover it after the fact and all that jazz. But thank you guys very, very much. I just noticed 1,200 people. That's insane. But yeah, fuck, lost my train of thought. Okay, so I'm going to talk about this right now because obviously it's at the end of the episode. And I just want this to be a point of conversation for majority of people who are going to be here now versus, you know, as the discussion goes on. Is Yang not allowed to care about anyone but RWBY? Like, legitimately speaking, I do find that it's... There's one scene in Volume 6 that I kind of related to where I was like, well, that's odd. It was in the Brunswick Farm episode where the house is burning down, Crow's drunk off his ass, RWBY's trying to help him, Weiss is taking care of the apathy, and Blake grabs Yang grabs Blake by the hand, and they both walk out of the house together. I was like, okay, that's great and all, but everyone else is still in that burning house. I still feel like everybody in that situation was well capable and well equipped to deal with the situation. And it's not like we needed Yang in that house too. We needed to all be kumbaya and walk out of that house together as like a big happy family. I really think like some people are taking their frustration out on Yang because either they don't like the character or they don't like the implications of that being a reference to the ship or potential happenings with the two characters down the road. But it's like, Yang is allowed to still feel like... Yang is still allowed to wonder what Blake thinks of her decisions. It's her goddamn teammate. You know what I mean? Like, she knows how RWBY feels. You know, they're sisters. They're butting heads. Yang is the older sister. She's not gonna... I don't think she's gonna, like, take that to heart that RWBY's like, oh my god, my little sister doesn't love me anymore because we have a difference of opinion. You know what I mean? Even RWBY like took it on the chin when she was talking to Penny. She was like, "Yeah, I know. You know, like me and Yang might not know the best way of dealing with things, but it's not like it's gonna ruin our. It's not like we're gonna hate each other just because we have different opinions. But it's just like she doesn't know how Blake feels. Blake didn't say anything. She literally opposed her by going on RWBY's side. So inherently, she doesn't agree with the route that Yang went on. So Is she not allowed to think about that? Is she not allowed to think about that? Is she only allowed to think about her sister 100% of the time? And if she ever thinks about Blake, it just pisses people off because it's like implications or assumptions about where they're going with it. I'm just like, I don't know. That really annoys me. Like, I saw that so much on Twitter over the last week, and I'm just like, bruh, that's still her friend. No, guys. Clearly she was talking about Weiss. She was clearly like, does Weiss think less of me for not helping out with Amity? Clearly it was Weiss that she was talking about, you know? Also, for anyone who thought it was RWBY, don't feel bad. Jean thought it was RWBY that she was thinking about too. It's also a little weird that Yang was very vague about that. She was like, do you think she thinks less of me? How many girls are on the other team? RWBY, Weiss, Nora, Penny. I wonder which person she's talking about. It's like, why don't you just say who the name? Do you think RWBY's up? Do you think Blake is? Do you think Penny? Do you think Nora's thinks less of me? You know what I mean? It's like, come on. We all know who she was talking about. But yeah, I don't know. I just felt like saying that because, yeah, a lot of people, I've just seen a lot of opinions on Twitter. Like, it's like, wow, I can't believe she's thinking of, she's not even thinking of her own flesh and blood. And it's like, yeah, because RWBY is more capable than Yang in the situation. It makes a lot more sense, in my opinion, that RWBY would be worried for Yang and want to call her and be like, yo, are you okay? Because the last time they got split up, Yang got her arm chopped off and fell into a spiral of depression. You know, and things aren't exactly all hunky-dory. So the fact that she's not getting a signal is very odd, considering they're supposed to be in the city. Meanwhile, they're out in the middle of nowhere. So, yeah, I know. Twitter isn't a good place for sound opinions. You're right. It's my fault, you know? I put myself in those situations. Yeah. Clearly she's thinking about Maria. Yeah. Yeah, but long story short, I felt like saying that now, because I don't know, most people are in here now, and I feel like, you know, RWBY, there's so many names that I'm, like, jumbling around. RWBY is clearly thinking about Yang, but I just think it's based on, like, history, and the fact of, like, yo, is my big sister okay? We had that little fight. Yang is thinking about it a lot differently. I think Yang is a lot more confident in her sister than RWBY is to know that anything can happen. Also, why the fuck would you feel like, objectively, I think RWBY is in way better hands than Yang is. She's got her teammate Weiss, she's got Yang's teammate Blake, she's got the Winter Maiden, and she's got Thunder Thighs herself, Nora Valkyrie. RWBY is like protected on all sides. Not to mention RWBY's good in a fight, and she has silver eyes. So it's like, I wouldn't worry about RWBY either if I was Yang. It's like RWBY is in May Marigold. I mean, she doesn't know that. I don't think she knows that May's with them. Yeah, she knows that May's. It's like even May is with them. It's like, could she, you know what I mean? It's even like what May said in the second episode. She was like, you know, she was like, you couldn't be, you know, between our secret weapon and my semblance, you couldn't be in better hands. Like, quite literally, RWBY could not be in safer hands. So it's like, why would you ever worry about her? But yeah, that's the end of that. It just really frustrated me, and I'm like, I have to say something about that before anything. Also, really quick, this opening scene right here with Yang picking up those nuts and bolts, she's just picking up the pieces of the nuts and bolts ship right there. By the end of the, okay, I don't want that to happen, but I was just like, I feel like that's gonna be a meme by the end of the volume if that actually comes to fruition. She's just picking up literal nuts and bolts off the ground, and I'm like, no! It's like, why is that the first thing I thought of when I saw that? Oh man, you know what? This is a defense mechanism, ladies and gentlemen. I don't say this to hurt anyone. I don't say this to make light of the situation. I say this to protect myself from the inevitable. So we can look back on this and laugh and be like, hey, that was a good time, right? All happy, all fun and games, right? So I'm making the most of this. I'm literally making the most of this. Like I'm actually terrified how this volume is gonna play out. But yeah, this is where the tone shifts completely. It's like, yo, we had a close run-in right there, didn't we, Yang? Didn't we, Jean? Didn't we, Ren? Meanwhile, Ren is absolutely livid by this entire thing. Also, really quick, and I'm not exactly proud to say this. I think I have a simping problem. I said that I was like, yo, Blake's looking really good this volume. I went on Twitter and I was like, yo, Salem's hot as fuck. And I don't know, this scene's doing it for me. So yeah, I don't know, Yang just looks really great in this scene. I was like, I don't know, I'm having a bit of an awakening, ladies and gentlemen. I don't really know how to process this, so I just want to be transparent with you guys and let you know that your boy's feeling some type of way. Yeah, by the way, I'm talking about the lighting if you didn't realize it. I'm talking about the lighting that's emanating off of Yang from that beautiful sunset in the background. You really think I would simp over Yang Xiaolong? How dare you? I'm just kidding. That was a good save, though. Yeah, that was a good save. Anyways, this is such a badass shot. You know what? I'm going full screen with this. Fuck it. I really liked this shot here. Ren is an absolute badass. It's like Ren versus the world. The lone gun. Like, another thing, too, is just the symbolism of this scene. Ren's walking solo. He's all by himself. And he's alone with his thoughts and his emotions, and clearly that's not a good thing that you want happening this volume, because the whole point of Salem's main target is to cause division between everybody. I just really liked it. I was like, holy shit, this is so badass. Ren's just like, fuck it, it's me against the world, I'll do everything. Ren alone, yeah, it's like a Zuko moment right there. But yeah, I thought that scene was really cool. Like, the shot was really awesome. On top of that, you also have the sunset in the background for the bottom shot, so that's why I paired these two together, because I was like, that's actually a really good side-by-side. I actually really appreciate that. I'm a sucker for lighting anyway. But yeah, Ren is a little bit too into his emotions, and this is why you don't bottle up your emotions, ladies and gentlemen. This is why you talk things out. This is why you vent to a third party. You know, not as a means of talking behind someone's back, but as a means of, like, if I don't tell this to somebody, I'm gonna blow up. You know, that's why you do it. Let's see. I'm just gonna read a couple super chats really quick. I've been thinking about Weiss's semblance, and I have a theory that Weiss's semblance might actually strip the magic from a person. I mean, well, semblances are a semblance of magic, so I don't think it's magic based, but she does utilize dust when using her semblance from time to time. Hopefully Weiss and Winter spend more time with Whitley later on. Based on screen time, like I said, similar with, like, I want Willow and Winter to talk. I just don't know how they would allow that scene to play out with the time, you know, and just where all the characters are right now. I find myself, I always find that annoying. I'm the oldest sister, and my brother is 4 years younger than me. We don't talk every day, but we don't forget we exist. Yeah, I just think it's a fandom thing at this point, but, yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, this scene is without a doubt the best scene in the episode. Shout out to Neith Ohm and to Barbara Dunkelman for their performances here. was not expecting this to be one of the core interactions between Yang and Ren that we've had, if at all in the series so far. These two polar opposite characters, outgoing and, you know, bubbly and energetic, reserved, cool, calm, collected. But yeah, this is the point. This is the conversation that nobody wants to have this volume, which is where we fucked up, where we need to identify those mess ups, and really ask ourselves, like, do we even have the authority to be making these calls based on everything that's been going on? And Ren's been doing this since last volume. He's being very passive aggressive. He's lashing out here and there, you know, snapping at people like Nora last volume, like Yang, you know, responding the way that he like rolled his eyes and responded when she asked if his semblance can help them out. How he was like telling Jean basically, yo, shut up, I'm trying to focus. And that's why you don't bottle your emotions, because that's the result. It's like what I mentioned last in that discussion as well. I mentioned there are times where I'm just like really annoyed. I know myself enough to know that if I'm at a point of frustration or anger, I know it's wise to communicate and talk about your feelings and like, you know, level it out that way. But I know sometimes I just need to be alone and I need to diffuse myself in the hopes that I don't, you know, take it out on someone that doesn't deserve it. And that obviously has come from, you know, years of, you know, learning from those mistakes. So Ren, unfortunately, isn't good at communicating. You know what I mean? Like, Nora had to make the move on him. But yeah, this is where, like, it boiled over, and it's now, like, these are the two most emotionally, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, these are the most emotionally charged characters from each team. Like, Yang's semblance is all about her emotions, keeping her emotions in check. Ren has always been Zen Ren. That's how his semblance works, too. And so for them two, yeah, emotionally volatile, I guess they're on the opposite emotional spectrum, but, like, they're both, like, conflicting on that at this point. Like, Yang's getting a little frustrated. Ren is already at that point, and he's never really expressed himself in that way. And, I think the core argument, or I guess the main focus of this situation is where both of their ideals are. So Ren is looking at the situation. So let me first say this, first and foremost. I think both of these characters are justified where they're coming from. And again, I don't think anyone is particularly wrong. One thing that I've noticed since volume 7, since this whole Atlas arc took off, is that a lot of people are looking at one specific person to blame. It's RWBY's fault because she lied to Ironwood when they first got there and everyone was following her lead. It's Crow's fault because he teamed up with Tyrion to kill Clover. It's it's Blake's fault and Yang's fault for telling Robin about the global communications. It's Robin's fault because she outed them by revealing that information at the dinner party. You know what I mean? Like, everyone is, like, trying to point at one specific person for the blame to justify everything else happening. It's everyone has a little bit of blame. It's a bit of blame to go around for everybody. The episode is called Fault. And at the end of the day, they're trying to acknowledge their fault, but not completely be like, oh, well, we should have never done it in the first place. I think Ren is looking at this from a purely result-based viewpoint. He's looking at it like, where are we right now? What is our results? If our results are this, then everything we've done up to this point is invalidated. Like, it doesn't matter if we helped, people in Mantle. It doesn't matter that we helped the Aesops. It doesn't matter about X or Y, because the Z situation, the objective of the situation, is that we don't have Oscar, we don't have the Relic, Salem is here now, we're fugitives of the law, and we couldn't be in a worse situation. He's spitting hard facts. like we're actually, like, at the lowest of the low here. But Yang looks at it more as like a you know, put one foot in front of the other. She's looking at it more as like a progressional thing. She's not looking at the end result of like, this is where we are. She's looking at it as in, if we didn't do all of these things, who knows where we would be by this point. We're not perfect. I'm not saying everything we've done has been perfect, but at the same time, if we do nothing, we become complacent, and we, as a result, help Salem in the process. And she's not wrong either. It just really depends where you fall on this. Similar to the first episode, Yang was not wrong and RWBY was not wrong. I think there's a bit of gray in there for people to decide where they lean more on. It's not simply Ren is right, Yang is wrong, Yang is right, Ren is wrong, vice versa. You know, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't, so pick a side and deal with it. You know what I mean? It's just the fact that no one has acknowledged these faults, and Ren is saying stuff that probably no one wants to hear, and no one wants to hear where they fuck up. You know what I mean? No one wants to be told, yeah, you did this wrong, by the way. I know you're trying to better yourself as a person, but it's still objectively true that you fucked up here, 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 and here, and it's my job to remind you of that. In not a very constructive way, you know, because Ren doesn't have a solution. You know, and it's, you know, she even like challenged it. She's like, so what do we do? Do we let Ironwood do all this stuff? And here's where I think Ren had a very poignant point. He was like, I don't know, but I think we're way in over our heads, and we are not in a position where we should be making these types of decisions. He doesn't think that they were ready to be huntsmen. I am somewhat in agreement with him on that, because they were forced to grow up. You know what I mean? Like, I can't say they're in the most ideal situation, the most ideal, then I can't say that they're in the most ideal, situation to where they're huntsmen now. But objectively speaking, right, Volume 1 to Volume 8 has been roughly 2 years. I did the math. From Volume 1 to 3 was a school semester. Volume 3 to 4, 6 to 8 months. Volume 4 to 5 was a few weeks. Volume 6 to 7 was a couple weeks as well. So, looking at the numbers, it's been about 2 years, right? RWBY was 15 when the show started. She's now 17. Everyone was 17. They're now 19. So, 2 semesters, which is basically it was 2 semesters. I meant to say 1 school year, you know, because the school semester started in the first episode, and the Vital Festival tournament was at the end of the school year. So basically, roughly 10 months so of school had passed by. So, Ozpin tells everybody, the first person you make eye contact with will be your partner for the next 4 years at this school. So, they've only had 1 year of proper school training, 1 year of real world, like wilderness, like traveling, fighting Grimm, saving people, saving villages training. And they're 2 years like out before they really have the experience to be like, yeah, we can actually call ourselves huntsmen. They lack the experience. They lack the textbook know-how. They're not huntsmen in the same way that Crow is a huntsman, or Raven, or Summer, or Ty are huntsmen. And so I feel like, again, Ren is looking at it from a completely logical standpoint, right? I honestly think Ironwood only gave them huntsman licenses because, number one, it frees them up to be able to do more stuff in the city and not get arrested for, you know, being unlicensed. You know, that's one of the counts for why they got arrested in the first episode. You know, they were using weapons as non-licensed huntsmen. So giving them that frees them up a little bit, allows them to help out with fighting Grimm and stuff like that. And it was also like Ironwood's way of like definitively putting trust in them to help out in the kingdom. And so yeah, that was given to them before they were like really ready for it. It's kind of interesting too. I kind of can put myself in this perspective in a different way. So the first job I ever had was at a McDonald's. I worked there from 2010 to 2016, and it was my first ever job. And I remember, I think 3 years into working there, I got a promotion. So I was a crew member. 2-3 years in, I got a promotion to crew trainer. So my job was to train new people who come into work. And then I was only a crew trainer for maybe like 6 months to a year when I was offered an opportunity to become a manager. And the thing is with me, regardless of being there for 3 years or so, I didn't know how to do everything in the store. I didn't know how to do everything. Like, there were some things that I excelled at, but I identified, like, I'm not ready for, I turned it down because, number one, I didn't really know if I wanted to be a manager at McDonald's because I felt like that would have, like, negated my options to maybe want to go back to school or do other things. But more so, I just felt like I wasn't ready because I acknowledged that I wasn't ready because I didn't know everything. And my manager was like, look, like, honestly, I want to hire you because I want you to be a manager because, and I'm not like boasting or anything, but she specifically said that, like, and I used to get like a lot of compliments from like workers and stuff. I actually got a letter from a customer who actually always came in the morning, because I used to work morning shifts for the most part, always came in the morning and ordered like a coffee. And I would like say good morning to them, how their day was. I took a lot of pride in customer service, like, you know, food service for the most part. And I never let an upset customer get in my way. I never let that affect my ability to work and to do my job. And my manager ended up saying, she was like your personality and the way that I just naturally am with people is hard to find, and that you can't make someone into that. Like, you have to be born with that. Like, you just have to naturally be in tune with being a people person. And that's why she wanted to hire me as a manager. She said long term, I excelled more at interacting with people than simply knowing how to do every station in the store. And I appreciated that. You know, I appreciated that she told me that, because I don't think no one's ever told me that before. And I didn't really even believe it myself. But like, that was what kept me from it. It was just the fact that I knew that I lacked the technical know-how. You know, I felt like as a manager, for me to be a manager and be like, I don't know how to do something, that felt like an unqualification. It's like, how are you going to be a manager and not know how to do a job? So for me, that's where I felt like I wasn't ready for it. And so when I look at this situation and I see Ren saying we weren't ready to be huntsmen, it's probably because they've never been in these situations. They don't have the like, they're not educated enough or experienced enough to know if these calls are the right ones to make. On the flip side, it was kind of like forced on them by like the powers that be, you know what I mean? Like, Salem forced their hand, she forced Ozpin's hand, and they really didn't have they didn't really have a choice in that regard. So yeah, I guess I was just explaining that to give y'all a little bit of perspective. Maybe you guys maybe you guys have been in the same predicament or whatever. But yeah, so I just think that, like, Ren makes a lot of solid points. I think the way that he's expressing it is probably not the best, and that's also because he's incredibly negatively tuned out right now, like on the emotional spectrum, to where he's even like saying, like, I'm a nobody, RWBY's just a kid, this guy over here cheated his way into Beacon, you know what I mean? Like who the fuck are we to be making any of these calls? You know what I mean? I wouldn't have been surprised if he called out Yang to be like, you and Blake are probably the biggest reason why Ironwood's against us, because that broke his trust in us completely. But I don't think he knew that, because that happened on one side of you know what I mean? Like, that reveal happened between Team RWBY and Ironwood in the Aesops. So it's not really like he would have known that. But if he had, I wouldn't be surprised if that's what he was going to say to Yang, you know, because he called out RWBY, he called out himself, he called out Jean. And another thing that I'll say in the next scene here, because he clearly lashed out, clearly wasn't a cool move for him to do that. And at the same time, it's a tough call, right? I think the analogy that I thought of for this situation, for this discussion, is like, imagine Jean was on Earth, and imagine Jean fraudulently faked his transcripts to get into the best medical school in the world. And he went on to gain that knowledge that he learned in the medical school and developed a 100% cure for cancer. And that cure went to save millions of lives, billions of lives. And then a little bit further down the line, it's revealed that he faked his transcripts, which is a fraud, which is like a felony, by the way. There are actual people that like pay off like deans and headmasters of prestigious universities to get their kids into, and then those parents end up going to prison for like 20, 30, 40 years because that's like, you can't pay your kids way into the school. That's kind of fucked up. And it like, you know, it makes the opportunities less likely for people who actually save and struggle to get in. Do the ends justify the means in that regard? Would you turn around and be like, you're a shitty, terrible person, get ready for some prison time, we appreciate you curing cancer, you know, do the ends justify those means? You know, just because Jean faked his transcripts, does that in turn negate everything he's learned to the person that he is today? You know, maybe my example was a little too extreme and a little too morally complex compared to him just going to a school because he wanted to live up to his family name, and you know, who's to say he would have turned out the same way? For me, no. Hell no. No, it doesn't. That negates nothing he learned and does, and the things he's done at this point. I mean, I'm in agreement with that. It's just like objectively, like, yeah, you can look at that situation, but then I think it really depends on like where you stand morally on Jean cheating his way into school. In your mind, it's like, well, are you fine with that as long as he's using what he learned to help people, you know, to be a good person, to protect people, to continue to do that job? Not to mention the headmaster as well knew about it and still let him in the school. So, you know, that's just another thing. Ozpin is just like, that's just another check on the Ozpin, like, fuck up box. It's like, damn, you were a terrible headmaster too. You let students in your school illegally. But I feel like he also sensed the potential in Jean. I really disagree that he should go to jail since he did everyone a huge favor. Yeah, I mean, if people aren't getting arrested, I'm not saying Jean is going to prison or anything. I'm saying the way that Ren is like calling him out for that, like he's a terrible, like he cheated his way into Beacon, so anything that he's done or said up to this point is invalid, is just like, come on, dude. Like, now you're just trying to hurt people. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, he cheated his way into Beacon, but look where he is now. You know? And look who helped him along the way. He actually sat down with you when you were half naked in a room and asked you for advice on girls. You know what I mean? You're the brother he's never had. And you. By the way, I'm gonna think, you know what I mean? That moment didn't age well. Because now he's like roasting him for it. You know? I really think they're setting up for something that's going to happen with Ren, man. Nora's also unconscious. He doesn't know that yet. And it's just like Ren is just not in the best headspace right now. And where they're at right now at the end of the episode and that crack in the floor, I feel like that's a response to Ren's negative emotions. So that's not a good sign either. And it's just, I feel like for someone who's so result objective based, he should know that his emotions are probably making the situation worse. But yeah, he still has the right to feel those things. It's just tough. Like, it's just where you fall in line on it. I really think both sides are right, but I think Ren could have gone about it way differently. Like, he clearly was too emotionally charged for this conversation, where I feel like his emotions just let him just say whatever he wanted with no filter. And yeah, you can respect that for him saying it like it is, but look at the results that it had. You know, Jean doesn't feel the best about it. Yang is like, bro, you're pushing everyone away from you. Us, Nora, like, bro, do you want to be alone? Like, you know, it's just an awkward situation at the end of the day. But I think this was like the best part of the episode. Obviously the most thought-provoking for conversations like these. And you know, I feel like this is where, like, I think the last 2 volumes have been great for conversations overall, just on where people are. You know, what side do you fall on? Because it's situations like these that you really, as a viewer, you're probably picking one side or the other. It doesn't make you right or wrong, because I don't think either side is right or wrong. It's just a difference of opinion, and you can have different opinions and still be united, still be friends, you know, like they were saying in the first episode. So I just think that intent matters. I think the way you say things to people matters just as much as your message to those people. You know what I mean? Like, if you say the right thing in the wrong way, it's, you know what I mean? It's like, who's going to listen to you? If you say the wrong thing in the right way, you know, similar results maybe. But yeah, I, just kind of leaving things as they are right now for them. Holy shit. Let's make this transition now. Let's talk about this scene. Holy crap. Oscar Protection Squad, y'all need a new job. I'll say it right now. Y'all need a new profession. Y'all ain't cut out for this, okay? Oh, boy. Jean, I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. I really think the RWBY looks forward to finding new and interesting ways to fuck with Oscar since he got introduced in the show. I was not expecting this kid to get absolutely, like, you thought the fucking Hound Grim did some damage to him. Imagine we actually see the torture process. Like, we got a glimpse just now. Salem just left the room, and Oscar is now a punching bag who can barely defend himself. Oh, man. I do want to emphasize one thing, though, that was very interesting about this scene, in case y'all didn't notice it. But Salem is in the room, and she's twirling around what looks like some black smoke. But when you enhance and add this picture, those are actually her children. It's her maiden kids, and there's 4 of them. You can actually hear little laughing, like a little laughing sound cue in this scene if you go back and watch it. Yeah, those are her kids. And she's like, my long-lost Ozma, found at last. By the way, you remember our kids that we ended up killing in our fight? I didn't forget. They're right here, by the way. So yeah, it's hard to see because like that room is like that scene is just so like she's in the shadows, so it's hard to notice. So you can pretty much see them all dancing around in dresses and stuff like that. And I just decided to put this picture here for reference. But yeah, she is still a mother scorned. She's still like calling Ozma like my Ozma, like. There's a lot of romantic undertones here, and it's very awkward because Oscar's like a 15-year-old kid, and Salem is like a MILF, and it's just like, oh no, and like Ozma is there too, so like it's just fucking weird. It's just weird. Yeah, and she's just like bodying this kid. Just like, zap! But yeah, yeah, this scene was pretty intense. I really don't know what else they're gonna do to this kid. You know, she's confronting him. She's like, oh, and so it's been ages since they've seen each other. One thing that I will say again, because I don't know if it's ever been established or mentioned at this point, maybe in a past life or maybe future points to come. I mentioned it in our Discord discussion, but remember the conversation that Ozpin had with Salem in the first episode where they were talking about the origins of mankind being born from dust? You know, take heed, there will be no victory in strength, but perhaps the victory lies in the things that you've long forgotten, things that require a smaller, more honest soul. A smaller, more honest soul, the conversation that continues at the end of Volume 3. You know, it's true that humanity, you know what I mean? Like, all that stuff. You know, this is the beginning of the end, Ozpin. I can't wait to watch you burn. When is that conversation taking place? Can you imagine if Ozpin comes back in the picture during this volume and they have that conversation now? Because she even mentions, he's like, Ozma, how long has it been since we've seen each other like this face to face? And so it's been like forever. That would be the ultimate fucking like coming around full circle with the show. The first half of a conversation in the first chapter, the second half of that conversation in Volume 3, and then we actually see the time point that it's happening in the future for Volume 8. That'd just be really cool. Or like, what if it happens after Ozpin completely forms with Oscar, and then he talks to Salem like that? You know? You know, because she's actually talking to him. She's having that conversation. If you like, there's actually someone spliced both parts on YouTube, and you get the full thing of it. It's just weird because she's talking about like the origins of like humanity and stuff like that. And it's like, why would you say that to Ozma? Clearly he's been around just as long as you. He would know that as well. And all that stuff. Or maybe he hasn't, because when he came back, humanity was already brought back. So Salem has been around longer than him technically for the second coming of humanity. So she's giving him the story of like, hey, this is what happened when you weren't around. By the way, victory will not be in strength. All of this military power that you see from Ironwood, all of these huntsmen and huntresses that you're sending my way, none of that shit's gonna matter. So yeah. It would just be really, really cool if that was happening now. Let's see. I like how the Hound is just sitting there like a good boy. Well, it's her pet, like her actual pet. That's what she wants Cinder to be. I wonder if that's what Cinder will turn into. It's just weird because Cinder's response to it makes it seem like it's a very recent experiment. But we'll talk about that as well. So I'm surprised she first mentions like the beacon relic, because we haven't heard her talk about that since like, what, volume 5? Volume 4, volume 5. You know, when she was talking to the Seergrim, she's like, the relic is there. And Ozpin mentions in Volume 5 that he made it a bit challenging to find than the others. So I'm honestly curious of the method that he went to go about doing that too. It'd be kind of cool if the method was pretty simple, but like, I don't know. It's just because, is it tied to a form of choice? Like, I don't know. It's weird. I just don't know how. None of us can know. Only the writers really know how revealing the relic is going to work. But I wonder if it's tied to choice. We also had to talk about like Galinda. You know, in the first episode, we had to talk about like maybe Galinda's tied to it because she has like the crown insignia on the back of her cape, and you know she was really close to Ozpin, and she's still in Vale right now. So maybe she's tied to that somehow. Or something like that. Obviously, we talked about the Galinda and Cinder rematch. Maybe Cinder, you know, because she is the Fall Maiden and she's the one that opens the beacon relic, maybe she has to make choices for herself and not choose for Salem. Maybe Cinder's the key to finding the relic because she is that maiden. I don't know. There's just a lot of different approaches, or maybe it's just tied to Ozma's magic. And, you know, maybe he just like made his own little pocket dimension and hid it away. But yeah. So obviously Oscar doesn't know about that, and then she's asking about and he gave her the same like shitty lie that Ruby gave to Ironwood. Like, the questions were all used up already. And it's like, damn, Oscar, you learned from the best. You learned that from Ruby in the first episode of Volume 7. And then she just like no fucks given, just started bursting like rays of magic into this kid. And like his scream, the dog is just like, I'm a good boy. I'm just here for the show. You know, I'm just here for the treats at the end. But yeah, I cannot believe this was happening. I'm like, dude, this is gonna happen over and over. Like, he's gonna be tortured until he dies. Salem is gonna be doing this for forever until Oscar dies, or unless he gives her what he wants, unless he gives her what she wants. You know, which is the answer. I admire Oscar's resolve, especially since this is his first time being face-to-face with someone like Salem, and being on the receiving end of this torture is very shocking and very disturbing. It's like a little kid too. But yeah, like, she doesn't give a shit. She's like, I don't care if you're a kid, you're Ozma at the end of the day. You're standing in the way of what I want. You're no different than him. I actually don't give a shit, and I'm gonna do whatever it takes. So, yeah. Oscar Protection Squad, y'all need to find a new hobby, because y'all ain't stopping Salem. Like, let's be real. Like, Hazel maybe, Crow maybe, Salem, nah. Time to pack it in. Time to find a new career. You guys picked the worst one of the bunch. Y'all saw Oscar in Volume 4, and you're like, that's the kid. That's who I'm gonna protect. That's who I love. And now look where we are. And now you're just like, did I make the right choice? But yeah. All jokes aside, though, like, Oscar is actually like, fucked. And then Hazel's brought into the picture, too. I really liked this sequence right here. The like-minded souls indeed. I think it was that scene, right? I think it's that facial. That was just like, Salem, you're so fucking hot. Like, let's just call it. Well, let's just say what we're all thinking. All right, I'll be brave enough to say it if no one else will. Salem is hot as fuck. All right, there you go. I said it. God damn it. But yeah, as Lavernius Tucker once said, never stick your dick in crazy. All right, that's you'll do wise to live by those words. Okay. Ozma, unfortunately, you know, I don't know. Ozma was just like, he comes back from the dead, realizes his goal, but also thinks, yo, Salem's back. Yeah, I'm just not gonna do what I'm supposed to do, and I'm just gonna go make 4 kids with her. But yeah, bow chicka bow wow. Where's the lie? But yeah. Yeah, Ozma, you kinda fucked up there, dude. You were thinking, your head wasn't in the game. But yeah, the like-minded souls indeed. I liked that shot. And again, it's just like a reflection of, yeah, Ozma would pair himself up with someone who's a liar as well. You know, that's Ozma's greatest trait. You know, he's been lying for centuries. I feel like the like-minded souls thing was just more of like a kind, a gentle, more honest soul. And that could be RWBY. That could be a reflection of RWBY, and that could be a reflection of Oscar, which is like a transcendence of Ozpin, from who he originally was as Ozma. All right. Yeah, this was a, I don't know if you guys saw the meme that I posted. Actually, let me see if I can pull it up on my second monitor here, because I was laughing hysterically when I saw this meme on Twitter this past week. Actually, the same day this episode came out. I just want to say really quick, I didn't make this tweet myself. I didn't like make this meme myself. It was passed around in my Discord, and I just like yoinked it. But this shit was absolutely hilarious. Hold on, let me see. This right here. Oscar, I'm not gonna tell you anything. Ozma, way to go, buddy. Stand your ground. Hazel enters the chat. Ozma. Meanwhile, I'm a head out, dude. I still believe in you. Don't tell them anything. Oh man. So this meme right here, like this like little, this looks like a monkey. It's just like the meme itself is just funny. That's just like one of the funniest memes, like visually, just like you just turn a blind eye and you're just like, okay, let's just pretend we didn't see that. Oh my god, it was so good, dude. It was so good. I was literally laughing for like 5 minutes, and every time I looked at it again, it just got funnier and funnier and funnier. So yeah, I just really liked how that how that was like a perfect represent, because Ozpin was just like, Oscar, it'll be okay. Don't panic. You'll be all right. And then Ozma just stayed quiet the whole time, didn't interject, didn't try to stop anything that was happening. He was just like, yeah, I'm just gonna let Oscar have that one. I'll wait until things cool down a little bit, and then I'll make my presence known. Oh my god. Yeah, Ozma was just like not, he was like, yeah, I'm not, Oscar, you gotta have to take one for the team, my guy. I respect you, though. Yeah, that meme was so funny, dude. I was actually, like, in tears on Saturday after I saw that. The memes coming out of this volume have been fantastic. I saw one, too, with, like, the rays, like, the beaming, like, the ray of, like, the rainbow rays of, from Salem to Oscar, like, when she, like, blasted him with her magic. I saw a couple memes out of that one, too, so overall, it's just been great. The Oscar Protection Squad, I already said y'all are going to be working overtime. Y'all are like indentured servants at this point. Like, y'all are just like, goddamn, like, I don't get paid enough for this shit. Ozma pulled the, oops, I forgot my wallet. Can you pick up the tab for me real quick? Hey, what's up, Eddie? Yo, you got, I want to believe that you, Miles, Carrie, and Kiersey just get together at the beginning of a volume, and you guys are just like, all right, guys, how are we gonna screw up Oscar this volume? Like, it's almost like a thing. Like, he gets shot, he gets punched, he gets shoved against a wall, he gets wrecked by the Hound, he gets, like, tortured by Salem, he gets beat the shit out of by Hazel, both in volume 5, and again, now. I feel like this is like a trend at this point. It's like, damn, and then after all of that, he's gonna, like, he's just gonna cease to exist. Like, imagine that kind of, living that kind of life. Being like, yeah, I'm just gonna live my whole life getting assaulted time after time, and then I'm just gonna cease to exist because Ozpin is just gonna, you know, like an amoeba, just engulf my sense of being completely. Writers' room meetings are just us pulling random sufferings out of the hat for Oscar. I believe it. I believe that. Please mention that during the Volume 7 the Volume 8 commentary. I would love that. God. That's so good. But yeah, hey. In order for a pearl to be a diamond, you gotta put it under some pressure. And that's Oscar right now, right? He's gonna be sculpted into that perfect diamond, but right now he's going through the rough of it. He's gotta go through the ringer, because I mean, every other character kind of did. Blake got stabbed, Yang got her arm cut off, Weiss got impaled. It's like, Oscar, you know, Pyrrha died, Ren lost his family, Nora's an orphan. What's Oscar dealt with? Planting crops? Is that his suffering? Is that his struggle? No. Human punching bag, ladies and gentlemen. That's the true suffering for Oscar. But yeah, not looking forward to seeing this again. Like, the next time we see Oscar, he's gonna be like black and blue, I think. But yeah, another thing too, all banter aside, I think Salem is like such a good leader, like a villain, like a villainous leader. This is probably the best way of like vindicating and reinforcing your underlings, right? It's like, hey, I'm gonna give Hazel something. I'm gonna give Hazel what he wants, so that it only more so reinforces why he's with me in the first place. Again, I think the aspect of like him taking his anger out on Ozpin, when if it was a Grimm that killed his sister, the person behind you is just as much at fault as Ozpin was, filling these kids' heads with false truths and false promises of, you kill these Grimm and someday we'll be free. I feel like they're both, but Ozpin, like the intent, it's all about the intent. Salem's intent is to deceive and manipulate. Ozpin's intent is to give them hope in that someday he'll find the answers. It might not be in their lifetime, it might not be several lifetimes, but someday, hopefully, he'll find the answer. And it might be this lifetime now, you know, with Team RWBY and company. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like we'll get a little bit more of Ozma. I'm sorry, a little bit more of Hazel, especially if Ozma comes back and while he's beating the shit out of Oscar, Ozma comes back and tries to quell Hazel, tries to explain the situation, tries to give him perspective on, like, why the hell are you helping her if she's part of the problem? You know what I mean? So, we'll just have to wait and see how that pans out, because I really do like Hazel, and I really hope we get more out of him in terms of, like, development, instead of it simply being a revenge plot. Like I said with Tyrion, like I said with Cinder, I would not be surprised if Salem had the foresight to know. I wouldn't be surprised if Hazel's sister being killed was a setup. Like, Salem knew that if she killed his sister, she would be able to channel that frustration and channel it towards Ozpin and blame him and get Hazel on her side. Like, I'm still standing by that theory completely. I also saw another theory this week, rather, that Hazel is actually, like, working for Ozpin. And all of these moments here are him, like, playing up the moment to kind of keep himself inconspicuous, and he's actually helping Ozpin in the long term. You know? Because, like, what's the best course of action for Ozpin right now to get out of this situation? And how do you get him out of this situation? You gotta kill Oscar, you know? And you can use that as an excuse of like, sorry, I broke the victim, I killed him by mistake. And you free Ozpin, and, you know, the cycle resets. But, yeah, I don't know if that's it's super interesting. I watched the video earlier this week. But yeah, that'd be so dope, and, like, that'd be, like, fucking crazy for Hazel's development. Low-key, I kind of want that to happen now. But I don't know. We're gonna, you know, only the writers know, and we have 10 weeks to see where this goes. But anyways, moving on from there. So, y'all still think this is either Adam or Summer? I think most people think it's Summer Rose. I think most people want it to be Summer Rose. I don't think most people think it's Summer. I think this is more of a, like, a wishful thinking want than an accurate, like, it is. It seems recent. Also, sorry if, like, I'm, like, sniffling. I don't have tissues around. I hope I'm not getting sick. Zachary Hewlett, I think that's how you say that. Thoughts on Oscar's semblance, what Oscar's semblance might be. If not, what would you love to see as his semblance? Honestly, it would be kind of cool if he awoke in his semblance during this entire encounter. You know what I mean? What if his semblance is like, I don't know, like, what if his semblance nullifies damage? So, like he just awakens his semblance, and then it's just Hazel punching him and nothing's happening. That's a RWBY chibi skit. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what his semblance could be. His semblance might just bleed into Ozpin's magic. Maybe he doesn't have a semblance because Ozpin has magic. Ozpin doesn't have a semblance, I don't think, because a semblance is the residual aspects of magic in the previous generation of humanity that the new generation was born from the dust of. So semblances are almost like residual magic, and the dust is also like the condensed, like, physical remnants of, like, all the people that were turned to ash. I think that's the popular theory right now. So, like, dust and semblances are the remnants of the original magic that came from the gods back in the day. So they were born from the dust and the ashes of the previous humans that came before them. And yeah, I don't know what his semblance could be, what Oscar's semblance could be, you know? He still has to awaken it. Yeah, they're basically fossils, yeah. Dust is essentially like fossil fuel. But like from people, like from the first generation of magic humans. That's the popular theory. Another theory is that the dust came to the earth from the moon, but that doesn't really hold up when there's like dust like in the earth, like underground and shit. What if Amber was Hazel's sister? No, his sister was Gretchen Reinhardt. Which is like, yeah, I mean, Amber was just a one-off character whose purpose was solely to just be the maiden to forward that plot line, you know, and how Cinder ends up getting the power. I appreciate the super chat, Bubonic. I appreciate that very much. Also, thank you, Zachary, for the super chat as well. Yeah, this episode was great. I was thrilled to write a scene of Salem roasting Cinder. Oh my god. Yeah, so okay. I'm just gonna say this really quick. We haven't seen Tyrion yet. Okay? What if this is what if this dog is actually Tyrion? Because he was already simping for Salem up until this point, and 4 episodes in, we haven't seen him other than the first episode. And Cinder was like, "What the hell is that thing?" She's like, "An experiment. So far, I'm pleased with the results." So this Grimm hasn't been around for long. This seems like a very recent thing. I'm just saying that it's Tyrion because people are like, it's Adam, it's Summer Rose. Those are just as, like, out of thin air theories as this one. The only reason why those seem to be a little bit more plausible is because the Grimm doesn't have eyes. And it could be, like, you know, it could be, like, symbolic for maybe the silver eyes or the fact that Adam had, like, that black band over his eyes. You know, we're thinking that there's, like, agency within this Grimm to where it's behaving and thinking more so than a fodder Grimm. You know, I expect her magic to be imbued in it to some degree. But the fact that she said it's an experiment is very interesting, you know? And it obeys her completely. It's the pet that she wants Cinder to be, but the difference is the Grimm dog, the hound, doesn't talk back. You know what I mean? And I love how the Grimm actually, like, responds to Cinder, like, "Bitch, she just said no, like, stop asking, you're pissing me off now." So, I don't know, it's kind of like, I don't know, it's, I don't know who it is, or what it is, or how it's formed, or if we're gonna get more answers to that. And I hate how Eddie's just in the chat, like, he knows the answers, and it's like, someone here knows, and they're just, I don't know, like, we're like hungry for answers, man. I just want to know so much. Man. But yeah, I did like this scene here of just like, yeah, the Grimm is intelligent, it's recent, it's an experiment. We just don't know its origins. Like, how is it created? Was it created with someone in mind? Like I said, Tyrion, Summer, Adam, you know, a recent death. Maybe Leo Lionheart. We talked about that in the in chapter 2. When we were chapter 2 or 3, we talked about like the possible identity of the Grimm after the fact. But it's Torchwick. Oh my god, I miss Torchwick. Speaking of Torchwick, we're actually gonna see him in a second. So it's kind of funny that you brought that up. Let's see. It's Atlesian Guard number 637671. Yeah, it's just like a random fodder dude. Kirsten Love, thank you for the super chat. Whatever or whoever the hound is or was, he is still my absolute favorite. He's just a cute little dog who wants nothing but to please its owner / master. And that is how we lose this fight. When we start showing sympathy for the enemy because they remind us of things that we love in real life. You know what I mean? Like, what are we gonna have next? We're gonna have like cute little bunny rabbit Grim. You're gonna start like you're gonna start like falling in love over those things too. Is Grim just bodied Oscar? Who would win in a fight, Zwei or the Hound? That's a RWBY Chibi skit that you need to have. That's a Chibi season 4 premiere episode, by the way. Just give me partial credit. We'll split the royalties and the revenue. Zwei, no doubt. It's like a regular dog or a Grim dog. Place your bets. The villains are more lovable than the heroes. Guess it depends on what you look for in them specifically. Zwei is immortal. It's D, like D and Dudley. Bro, it's clear that the Hound is Pilot Boy. Come on, guys. Oh boy. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's up in the air. Watch, we're just all wrong. Also, CV, thank you for becoming a channel member. I appreciate the support. It's Forrest. Okay, I'm done. Moving on. So, this scene right here, there's a lot of parallels this episode that I don't know if I mentioned it in my reaction or my post-reaction discussion, but I immediately picked up on these parallels. So the first one is like, Cinder's like, I was thinking, do you hear that, my pet? She thinks, she wants, as if she's done anything to earn either, for me to care about either of those things. You know what I mean? It's like, you notice how she wasn't like, I brought you the relic, though. I wouldn't be surprised if she knows that Neo brought her the relic. You know, especially if the Grim can sniff out the scent and be like, yeah, this Neo chick also had it, so I feel like she got it, gave it to Cinder, and then Cinder gave it to you. So that's one thing. But this immediately reminded me, also shout out to Torchwick, this immediately reminded me of Volume 2. And where we start seeing some behavioral comparisons in how Cinder has been emulating Salem for a really long time. You know, didn't I specifically instruct you two to keep your your hands clean while in Vale? I just thought that, don't think, obey. You know what I mean? Like, she's talking down to Emerald and Mercury the same way that Salem talks down to her, you know? And that's just like a toxic relationship, because it's almost like a parent to child, a parent to offspring thing, right? It's like, if your parents are yell and scream and curse and treat people poorly, you know, and that you're like exposed to that as a child, you're going to develop those same type of habits and behaviors when you get older. And I think I actually said that like early on in this volume, actually. And so, like, to see her, and again, it's the Cinderella and either the evil stepmother or the fairy godmother. I don't know which reference they're going with Salem, because we don't really know Cinder's backstory just yet. But yeah, like, that's very clear that Cinder wants to be her own Black Queen. She wants to be just as important or just as powerful or just as relevant as Salem, and she's clearly not going to, you know, overthrow or usurp Salem in any way. So she needs to find, you know what I mean? Like, Salem has her Cinder. Salem has her Watts, her Tyrion, her Hazel. So what does Cinder do? She goes out and finds her own cohort. She finds her own Torchwick, her own Mercury and Emerald, and tries to, like, emulate what she sees her master doing. And it doesn't stop here either. Cinder is very persistent in her efforts to get what she wants. And she's like, please, ma'am, let me go after it. And Salem is like, I will tell you where to go when you are needed. Roman, have a little faith. You'll know what you need when you need to know it. Need I say more? Like, absolutely, like, carbon copy of her, of the behaviors. Like, she's basically, she wants to be Salem. Like, she wants to be the head honcho. She wants to be the head bitch in charge. And She can't do it with Salem, so she's going down a couple pegs and doing it with her own lackeys. It's literally the same. The only difference is she's a lot more cockier in the fact that she's more valuable to Salem than a pawn. She's not a player necessarily, but I feel like anybody else would have just gotten like the backhand for talking back to Salem so much to where Salem's dog had to step in and be like, yo, can you like step off? You're really pissing us off now. And it doesn't stop there. It doesn't stop there because the last mention here is when Salem is like, I like to think that I've had a lot of patience over my years of walking Remnant, but I hate repeating myself. Volume 3, Chapter 7, where Cinder meets Emerald for the first time. What do you want? I already told you, and I don't like repeating myself. Literally a Salem wannabe in every way, shape, and form. And it's cool that they set this shit up years ago. Like this, like volume 2 and 3, that's like 2014, 2015, 2016 shit that we're getting now. So we're now seeing the reflection of that since we're seeing more of Salem and Cinder actually interacting, and they're kind of things are getting a little hectic, a little hasty with them because Cinder is very stubborn, she's very arrogant, she's very power hungry, and she wants her moment in the spotlight. She wants to prove herself. She wants that power. She wants to be number one, and Salem definitely acknowledges that. And I swear to God, I'm gonna say it like I did in the intro discussion. I really think Salem is gonna be the one to kill Cinder. Like it's just like it's literally gonna be like yeah, this isn't working out kind of thing. And who knows where the power is gonna go, the maiden power, or the Grim bug, you know, the Grim influence inside of her is going to take over. You know, that Salem's leash that she has on her, and that, you know, in the intro you see her like grabbing her hand in the fire and stuff like that. So the Grim, like Salem just might be able to influence Cinder to do what she wants regardless of Cinder's agency, because she knows that Cinder is the type of person to not listen and be arrogant and cocky and do her own thing. But yeah. Let's see. When Cinder first saw Salem, she just knew this is power. I really hope the backstory's good. It's been so long, man. I just want something at this point. I think just about every scene in this episode got a line or more cut. Just one. This one just had one or more. We just had a lot of back and forth between Cinder and Sailor, if I recall correctly. Interesting. Yeah, that would have been nice to get a little bit more interaction between them two. But I think at the end of the day, it's like, hey, she said one thing. She's like, you're going to stay here. Is that clear? And she's like, yep. And then she immediately was like, reverse Uno. Like, actually, I'm going to head out. I just want to look at something really quick. It's like, yo, you do not listen. I don't know. Like, you do this shit. You make your bed. You're going to have to lay in it. And you're going to have to deal with the consequences. And I don't think that Salem will pull any punches just because she's a maiden. Because, like, that power is... I don't think that power even compares to Salem. And even if you do that to Salem, she can't die. So, at that point, you have a death wish. If you even try to confront her. Like, if you, like, try to combat her. Like, just because you have the maiden powers. Yeah, it's character consistency. Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. I love shit like that. I love like when something is brought forth like in an early volume, like a volume 2 or a volume 3, and then it's referenced to down the road. You know what I mean? It's clear that they're still thinking about these earlier moments and going back to them for references or callbacks or Easter eggs or whatever the case might be. It's not like the writers are just writing this shit once and then are just like, okay, let's move on. Let's not reference anything that we've done since now. So I really like where they're setting things up with these two. It was a real treat for me to just hear one of those lines and immediately be like, I remember that from volume 2 or volume 3 or whatever. So yeah. It's just I don't know, it's rewarding for people, especially if you're super invested or if you've been around for a while and you remember those things, especially back when they first happened. Does that mean that Salem is immortal? Yes. Yes, that does mean she's immortal. Volume 6, Chapter 3. Confirms that. But yeah. Yeah, Salem is immortal. Let's see. So yeah, I love Neo. She's so entertaining. I'm just happy that she's just like, she's not even talking, but she's expressing what we're all thinking. Like, are you stupid? Did you just hear what Salem said? Did you just hear the ultimatum you agreed to? You'll stay here no matter what? I heard what she said. I just want to check on something real, like the ultimate, like, excuse. Like, the most blatant, like, the shittiest excuse you can give. I just want to see something real quick. Like, come on, dude. But yeah, I like the little Mary Poppins moment that reminded me of like how she got like blown away in volume 3. I was like, oh, that's kind of funny. And like the little feet, like the little tap dancing moment, like right there on the airship. She's like, all right, well, I'm just gonna chill. I love her. Like, she just body language says everything. She's just like, you just know what she's thinking. She's like, really? Really, you're gonna do this? And then her just like deadpan look. Yeah, Neo's like, yeah, I just joined this cult and I know my place. I know that I'm not gonna go with you because that's kind of dangerous. And I'm not trying to die from this crazy grim lady because I need to exact my revenge on you when the time is right. So yeah, Neo, I love how Neo's just super expressive and always entertaining. She's always the center of attention in a scene. And whoever animated this was like, it's just cool that you just know that like there's a bit of wind blowing and the current's taking her. It's just really nice. That moonwalk though. Neo is the audience. Yeah. And this is also the last trailer shot that they showed. There were 3 trailer shots, the last 3 of the volume 8 trailer. So moving forward with chapter 5 and beyond, everything is completely blind. And I'm not gonna lie, it's a little nerve-wracking because it's like we don't know what's gonna happen. There's no reference points. There's nothing for us to look forward to. I can finally stop saying in my reactions, oh, that's from the trailer. That's from the trailer. So like everything else moving forward is gonna be brand new. And blind, so God help us all. Yeah, and we have 10 chapters left. That's exciting though. 10 chapters is exciting. I don't know when things are gonna hit the fan. You know, I expect maybe let's see, the Fall of Beacon really happened in episode 6. Is where that shift started happening. The first play, at least, with Emerald and Mercury setting up Yang with the illusions. And then 7 was the flashback. 8. Was 8 PvP? I think 8 was PvP. No. 8 was the setup to PvP. 9 was PvP. So chapter 9 was where, like, Penny dying was where, like, that, like, set everything off. So episodes 9, 10, 11, 12. So, I don't know, maybe episode 6? Episode 7? Yeah. Yeah, I'm just trying to think of all this off the top of my head. Yeah, 9 was PvP. So yeah, we just have to pray and hope that I don't know, they ease into this and they just don't like put their foot on the gas right out the jump. Sin, you guys think I'm a simp. Everyone, I present to you Emerald Sustrai back in the flesh. Hasn't learned a goddamn thing since Cinder's been gone. Out of sight, out of mind, apparently. And that's all she's been thinking about. And the first opportunity she gets to be back in Senpai's you know, perspective or point of view, she's jumping at the chance. And I think this is gonna be, I really think this is gonna be where Emerald is gonna get a good look at how Cinder views her as an asset, as a tool, as as an asset, not as a friend, not as anything else. It's gonna break this like kind of like Stockholmy syndrome that she has going on, that she thinks just because someone like Cinder saved her and took her off the streets that she owes literally her life and everything that she's done to that. You know what? Like, Emerald can make like a good life for herself. Especially, I mean, I don't know how you can use that semblance for good, right? Like fucking with someone's mind. But I don't know. I think there's some good applications can come out of that. But I think what Mercury said to her in Volume 6, he's like, Cinder doesn't care about us. You don't know what you're talking about. Stop talking about my waifu. You know, it's like ultimate denial. And yeah, seeing is believing, and she's gonna get. She needs that. She needs to have that firsthand perspective. She needs to see it and hear it for herself. I really think, especially if there's a situation where Emerald's life is in danger and Cinder's like, fuck this shit, I'm out. I'm gonna save myself. Thanks for the help, Emerald. You know? Stuff like that. And I think Emerald now... Yeah, I was actually thinking Emerald's semblance can be used as like a form of therapy. Police interrogation. I don't know. That's kind of like an abuse of power. I'll be honest. Like, it's your job to sniff out if someone's telling the truth or not, but like to completely like rob them of their ability to like choose whether to do the right thing or not. I don't know if that's completely moral. But I mean, then again, Robin could have just been like a police officer or a detective or whatever and be like, yo, did you kill this guy? Take my hand. You know, it's like, I did not kill that guy. Like freaking like red buzzer noises, and it's like, all right, boys, we got him. All in a day's work. Yeah, that'd be like the easiest job ever. Holy shit. I can see that happening. Nah, that's Robin. No, I know. I'm saying, like, I feel like Robin's semblance would be more in line with, like, you can give that person still has the agency and the choice, and they're not being manipulated or deceived in any way, whether to tell the truth or not. But the truth semblance, the truth will come out. Emerald semblance, you're kind of manipulating someone's perception to get answers out of them, and I don't think that's morally acceptable. So I would like her to use it for something better. Maybe like if someone has like PTSD or something, like you can give them like good hallucinations, like something that could take their mind off of things or put them in a better mental state or something like that. I kind of like that. Junior Detective Emerald with badges. Yeah, next thing you're gonna say, yeah, just get Sun and Neptune back in the picture, and you know, it'll be a party. Gaslighting the semblance. Oh boy. But yeah, she said she's been working on her semblance. So I think her semblance has the potential to be even more busted than it was before. In Volume 3, she was like, 1 mind I can handle, but 2 is a stretch. Volume 5, her emotions pushed her to manipulate the minds of like 10 people in that room. Everyone in that room, Team RWBY, Team Juniper, the villains, everyone saw like the spaghetti fingers monster Salem at that time. Some of them for the first time. That was like 10 people at least. I think it was like 12 actually. But everyone in that room saw the semblance. And like obviously that was like her emotions being pushed. She passed out after that. But for her to be like, I've been working on my semblance, I'm expecting at least 4 to 5 people she can use that semblance on now. Because 1 mind I can handle, 2 is a stretch, but she can still do 2. So now I'm expecting 3 to 5 at least. And that's so broken, man. She can also make it to where like she made like Cinder invisible during the fight between during the fight with Amber, where she was like phasing in and out of Emerald's like perception, because like Emerald was using the semblance on Amber to make it like bits and pieces of, like you could see bits and pieces of her while she was like running into fight, and it's like, holy shit, dude. So yeah, this semblance is gonna be really messed up. Hopefully everyone on Team RWBY's side knows what Emerald's semblance is, right? They have to clearly be like, how did we see Salem? That makes no fucking sense. They have to be able to put 2 and 2 together now, because Emerald's semblance is like the key component in what helped, you know, Cinder and company like completely win one over on Beacon, you know, because it's like, that semblance is busted. How the hell does someone have a semblance like that? You know? So yeah, I just don't know how she can obviously use it on like personnel to get into security, backline, stuff like that. If we're gonna see Emerald in a fight where she's also using her semblance and she can use it on multiple people while fighting alongside Cinder, I don't know, that's gonna be insane. Maybe, fingers crossed, maybe we'll actually see the fabled Weiss versus Emerald fight that they've teased in like 2 of the intros that actually just never ended up happening. Never came true. So it's like, I don't know, maybe we'll see that fight. You know, maybe maybe Mercury and Yang will have a rematch, who knows? That'd be kind of cool. But yeah, that fight in of itself has become a meme as well. It's like, why do you have Weiss fighting Emerald? That shit never happened. That's false advertising. You know, that's something Tuxin would do. I expected better out of you, RWBY. Okay, so this is the last scene of the episode. I really liked this snow scene. I don't know why, I just liked it. It was just very, I just like the scenery. I like the snowfall. I like the moonlight. I like the little outpost that they have. You can see Yang in the distance over there, tending and managing the bike. That's where she finds the part that she needs to fix the motor, I think, to the hover bike. So yeah, I just thought this background scene looked really beautiful, and I was like, I'm gonna showcase this. Don't have anything more to say than that. And the moon is also pretty cool. So yeah, that's a thing. Oh, another thing too, this open room. I don't really know if there's more to say. Also, this room is like super convenient, by the way. It's like, it has a bed, it has bunk beds, so there's so much more room for activities. But like, I don't know what it is with RWBY, like the show, but like they just really love bunk beds. Like Beacon had bunk beds. The only room that didn't have bunk beds was the house that they were in during Volume 5. But Beacon had bunk beds. The train to Argus had bunk beds. Atlas had bunk beds. This outpost has bunk beds. I get it. It's efficient, you know. It's military efficiency. So much more room for activity. Yeah, I mean, activities, that's a Step Brothers joke for those who've seen the Step Brothers movie. With William Ferrell. Will Ferrell. Yeah, William Ferrell. It's like, we can make bunk beds so we have so much more room for activities. Activity, okay, I get it, guys. I get the implication. That's not what I was referring to. But yeah, they found the perfect spot. They got some dust in most likely in those SDC crates. And I don't know, they got it made right now. This is also the end of the first night. Luckily, I don't know if everyone's going to get their rounds too, but I was, like, a lot of us thought that this was going to be a 48-hour no sleep run where, like, no one was going to be able to get any sleep. But Team RWBY and company are at Weiss's house, so they'll most likely be able to sleep there. These guys are at the outpost. You know, Yang's looking after Ren. Jean's going to get some shut-eye. So, at the very least, I'm happy that they're going to be able to get sleep and recharge for the next day. Because if they went into this volume with 48 hours, actually, I think 72 hours of no sleep, like, I just didn't I just felt like it was just going to be, like, like, a mental deterioration as the volume went on because of that. But, Oscar isn't sleeping. That's for true. Like, he's gonna be up all night, getting completely destroyed. and interrogated for answers, which is unfortunate. So unfortunately, Oscar. I'm sad now. But yeah, obviously this scene here, emotions have died down a bit. You know, Ren is still a little frustrated, doesn't want to hear Jean out, unfortunately. But I do like how Jean at least brought up the fact of like, yeah, you're right. I cheated my way in a beacon, but I had people like Pyrrha that showed me that I was bigger than that mistake. And clearly where I'm standing right now and everything that's happened and everything that I've been through with, you know, with you and Nora and Pyrrha and Ruby's group and all that stuff, you know, like, you got friends. The same way that Jean fell into that spiral of revenge after Pyrrha was killed by Cinder, after, you know, he was pissed off about Ozpin, you know, keeping that secret from them and thinking that they forced that decision on Pyrrha, after seeing Cinder in Volume 5. It wasn't until the talk with the red-haired woman and Nora and Ren that Jean was actually able to come to his senses and kind of let go of that moment. Forrest is also sleeping. Yeah, he's taking a dirt nap right now. Thanks for reminding me. I appreciate it. But yeah, I do like this moment because it's like Ren has to realize that in the same way that they helped Jean, you got people around you. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't understand why Ren still feels like he can't talk to anyone after everything they've been through. You know, maybe it's just he feels like no one understands him. Maybe it's his upbringings. Maybe it's, you know, what his father told him, you know, make sure you always act, make sure you're always trying to do something. I don't know, but, like, he needs to break out of that. He needs to communicate. If you communicate and talk to people, you know what I mean? It's like, it's better to have people help you bear the burden of something instead of bearing it all on your own shoulders. But I think for the most part, like, that's really the ultimate takeaway. And John even says, he's like, you push people away, it's going to make you more lonely than before. And John's living proof of that, you know? If it wasn't for his friends and, you know, that red-haired woman and, like, acknowledging what Pyrrha did for him and how she helped him, you know, and being thankful for that, you know, who knows where Jean would have been. Ren's never, yeah, I know Ren's never been good at communication, but it's like, you have to try, you know what I mean? You have to, you know, what's the worst that's going to happen? I don't think, the worst thing's going to happen is that your friends are going to hear you out, you know? They're not going to, they're not going to judge him or anything like that, I don't think, you know? None of them are like that, but I don't know, you have to, at some point, you really have to come out of your circle if you want things to change or get better. So, you know, Ren's still not too happy about that. He just went out to sit in the snow, which, I don't know about y'all. Snow is equally comfortable to sit in as it is uncomfortable. Because, like, as you sit in the ice, or in the snow, obviously if it's ice, it's a different story. But if you sit in snow, like, the warmth of your ass is just gonna melt the snow, and then you're just gonna be damp. But snow is super soft and comfortable to, like, plop into if there's enough of it. So it's, like, equally comfortable for that landing. But then if you just sit there, it's like, all right, well, this is gonna get uncomfortable really soon. I really liked the concept art that they did for this chapter as well. Like, the fact that they had, like, character sketches in all of them too. And the scene that they had for Ren was really, I think I actually mentioned that during the credits of the reaction too. But yeah, I liked this part too, because obviously, you know, Yang, the Bumblebee bike, the fact that, you know, she's handy, she's like a mechanic, you know what I mean? It's like, damn, like, that's already, like, a +1 in my book for, like a significant other. Like, that's just like a trait that someone would probably love to have. It's just like, wow, you can, you're handy with, you're a good mechanic, you know? It's like, that's like one check on the box right there for a potential, for like a potential, I don't know, person to date or something like that, or just a good skill to have in general. Yeah, she's handy. Yeah, okay, I get it. Oh, boy. Hey, she said that to Robin, all right? She's like, handy semblance, all right? Yang said it first, not me. But yeah, obviously she was trying to, you know, make Jean feel better, and, you know, everyone's just stressed out, so it's kind of understandable how that's playing out. And then again, I already talked about the top scene and the scene in general about, you know, Yang mentioning, you know, oh, do you think she thinks less of me? You know, is it about Blake? Is it about Weiss? Is it about Nora? Is it about Penny? Is it about what, you know, is it about Blake and, you know, anybody else? I don't know. Like I said, like, I feel like some people feel like Yang can't care about anyone but RWBY, because if she does, then it's a shipping thing, which is really frustrating. It's like, yo, that's her teammate. That's still her friend. The one person one of the few people out of anyone in the, you know, in the first episode who voiced their opinions or voiced against Yang's opinions or just stayed to herself. So Yang just doesn't know how Blake feels. So I don't know. That was, it's a little frustrating that everyone's just like gunning for Yang and being like, how dare you not think of your sister, Yang? How could you? You're a terrible sister. It's like, relax. And then, yeah, the little reference there, like, Jean's like, things always get bad before they get better. And it's like, fuck off, man. Like, I'm already not looking forward to next episode. I wouldn't be surprised if, like, similar to The Hound, they show us this little tease and then they cut back to, like, a different perspective for the next episode. So, yeah, no one can catch a break right now, which is unfortunate. But for those of you who don't know, I think I know what Grim this is going to be. A lot of people are speculating what Grim this is going to be. Because if you don't know, during the summer, I believe during the summer, Rooster Teeth held a Grim contest. I believe it was in partnership with Full Sail University, where one of the students, where it was like a selection process, I believe, by the RWBY. And some things had to get changed around for the voting process because there was some mishaps going on. Also, I'm going to take y'all off slow chat because we're basically done here. All right, give me a second. Freedom! Enjoy your freedom while it lasts. And so, for those who don't know, they did a Grim contest. It came down to, I think, 5 Grim. All of them were really cool designs, really awesome. But ultimately, one was chosen that will be featured in Volume 8. And since we just got, like, that tease at the end of, like, the cracks in the ground, I'm pretty sure whatever Grim is under there is feeding off of the negativity that Ren is spewing out right now. And it is the Sulfurfish Grim. So this was the Grim that won the contest. As you can see, it's really small when drawn to scale with RWBY. But its application... Also, we're going to be doing the poll, by the way, so make sure you guys stick around for that. But its application is strength in numbers. So it's this small little, like, almost like crustacean, shellfish looking. You know, obviously it's a fish, so it's a sulfur fish. So it works like in a hive. So like it's like a swarming type of enemy. But if it can't subdue its enemies in a swarm form, it can combine. It basically just like pulls a Voltron and they all like combine together to form like a super mega ultimate Grim, and they have different forms and different structures. So it could have like a worm form, or like I don't know, it can just shapeshift into different entities. And so I think this is the Grim that is going to be showcased next, because the Grim, like part of the contest is like the Grim would be featured this volume, and what better Grim to reveal, you know, coming out of the frozen lake than a sulfurfish swarm. So that'd be kind of cool to see. And if it's a fight at night, that'd be even cooler, because that'd be really neat to see them like glowing in the dark with like their like glowing eyes and like their glowing tails and stuff like that. And just seeing a fight like that would be super cool. Obviously, it would catch Yang, Ren, and Jean off guard completely. But yeah, the Grim is super cool looking. If you haven't seen the Grim so far, yeah, like I said, 2020 RWBY Grim art contest. And I believe the winner, yeah, so I think that's the winner's email on the side. I don't know their Twitter handle, but there was a winner that was confirmed and on Twitter about it. I think their name is Landon Ellis 25. So yeah, that's the winner, and that is most likely going to be the Grim that we see fuck shit up in the next chapter. So I that was like one of the cool designs. The other Grim was like a Hag Grim. There was I think a Rhino Grim, a Wendigo Grim, and I think another one. But yeah, this one and I think the Hag were my two favorite that I was hoping would win the contest. But you know, it is what it is, and I'm looking forward to seeing how this Grim comes to life and how RWBY work with making a cool fight scene out of it or whatever. But yeah, the worm part of that Grim is super cool, like especially if it starts out with a swarm. So we're gonna get like a Dark Souls boss fight level. You know, it's like Swarm is level 1, and then it combines to its form A, and then it combines to its worm form B. So we're gonna get like a 3-phase boss fight on that, which is super cool. And it's super limiting too because Ren has guns, Jean has a sword, Yang has like guns and grenades. So there's like only so much they can do. Like, honestly, I think as a team, them three are pretty much lacking compared to RWBY's group, which again, I think that's why Yang isn't worried about RWBY, because she has like all of the main manpower of that squad, especially with the Maiden on their side. And then closing out, as we usually do, there were actually 5 concept art moments revealed for here. So the fight in the Ice Canyon with Jean, Ren, and Yang in the on the hover bikes. Salem with the good boy doggo in a different kind of looking form. He's actually an absolute unit. He's like hulking over Salem right now, which is pretty crazy. I like the Ren shot at the bottom left after he ends up saving them. And then I guess the bottom right is just like the docking station where Cinder and Neo was. But one of the best concept arts that I've ever seen that also translated really well into the show was Ren in the window. Just overlooking, obviously it's inverse, it's the opposite direction that it was in the show, but this is like a really nice concept shot, and I was like, holy shit, that's so cool. I really, really, really like the concept. I just like the concept art for this for this episode in particular, because there's actual like characters in them. Like you see Jean on the bike, you see Ren like dangling from the cliff tops, and then this one is just all Ren in his emotions in the snow. So shout out to the art team, to the art department who works on RWBY. I know y'all are the unsung heroes. You guys bring this shit to life. Y'all are part of the process as well. So it's kind of cool to see the concept for this and how it transitions to animation. So shout out to y'all on that front. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get into the episode 4 of the opinionated pointless polls. Pretty vanilla for this week, I will admit. I didn't really have an overall good one for this week, but pretty standard stuff, and I think a lot of people will have an opinion on it overall. But yeah, that is the episode for Volume 8, Chapter 4. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. This was the shortest discussion we've done this volume. 3 hours, 11 minutes. Most of them have been around the 3.5+ hour mark. The first chapter was 4 hours. The intro was technically the intro was an hour and a half, but that wasn't an episode. Chapter 2 was like 3.5 hours. Chapter 3 was like 3.5 hours. So this one's 3 hours and 10 minutes or so. Which again, about 20 minutes of that was just me chatting with you guys. So technically the discussion portion of this was under 3 hours. So we're on that speed run, boys and girls. But yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed. I really appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. I hope you guys liked my talking points. I hope you guys enjoyed the chat interaction and the overall discussion. Hopefully you guys learned a bit of remember when it was 5 hours? Yeah, the freaking the lost chapter discussion that was like 5 hours long, and for good reason. Like that was like the biggest lore drop of the series. Oscar Protection Squad, y'all need to step your game up. You guys are, I don't know, I'm losing faith in you with every episode. But with all of that said, we are going to get, oh, hold on, give me a second. All right, let's close you. Oh man, hold on, give me a second. I have to put this back up on Twitter. I fucked it up. Oh no, I didn't. Never mind. Okay, never mind, I didn't. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at the polls for last week. So let's check that out right now. So last week's polls was welcome to season 2, round 3 of the opinionated pointless polls. This week's topic is time travel. If you had the ability to travel through time up to 1,000 years, which direction would you travel, the past or the future? And majority of people said the future, both on Twitter and on YouTube. 1,279 on Twitter voted, and 61% said travel to the future. Most people, so the thing is about this is that a lot of people thought that there were stipulations to it. A lot of people were like, I should have clarified it a bit more. Unfortunately, Twitter has a limited amount of characters. I could have done it on the community tab, but then there would have been an imbalance to people voting on different platforms. I should have specified that, okay, hold on. Best player boy, stop spamming in the chat, please. So I should have specified that you can't change any events. You can't go in the past, and no butterfly effects will happen. It was purely from an observation standpoint. The only thing you can take with you when you go back to the present is knowledge. Like, you can go back into the future, in the past, and see events and get that objective, perspective, and you'll have that knowledge when you come back. But, good luck convincing anybody that you know what actually happened up to 1,000 years ago. And then the future was simply, obviously the future, you'll see shit that happens, but I don't think you can affect the future because you're not there yet. But yeah, so other than that, yeah. So that was the result on Twitter, and then for YouTube, there was 9,000 votes and 65%. So the turnout was relatively the same, 60-30, give or take. This week's poll, pretty simple. I actually don't know if I've done this in the past, because I don't go back and look at the previous ones, because the previous seasons weren't really that consistent, or the last season wasn't really that consistent. But this week for round 4, our household pets, and between fluffy felines and man's best friend, which one would you prefer living or growing up with? Cats or dogs? And no, you cannot choose both. So that is going live right now it's going live right now on YouTube and live right now on Twitter. Y'all can go place your bets there. We'll see the results of that next week. I'm pretty sure that won't be divisive at all, and it won't have anything to do with what people grew up with naturally. But yeah, that'll be fun to see. But overall, I do want to say once again, thank you guys all so much for hanging out with me today. Relatively straightforward discussion, not too many rambles off the beaten path. So I wish I could do this for every discussion, and it's only 9 p.m., so that's even better. So everyone else still has like the rest of their night to do their own thing. I am going to be streaming Genshin Impact, I think, tomorrow on Twitch, because there is a new event coming out for it. So for those of you who are interested, I'm going to be streaming over on twitch.tv/MurderofBirds. So be sure to follow if you aren't already. I'd really appreciate that, especially if you're playing the game or you're enjoying it. My reaction to this chapter will be uploaded on Saturday, as they usually are. So you guys can look forward to that. And I am going to try to get back to weekly uploads for Red versus Blue for anyone who is curious next week. So likely after the weekend of dealing with this week's RWBY discussion for the new chapter that comes out on Saturday as well. But yeah, that's everything for me. Again, thank you guys all so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed. I appreciate the support. I appreciate the super chats, the donations, the banter, and everything else in between for the chat itself. But yeah, that's all that's going to be for me. I really hope you guys enjoyed. Like I said, enjoy my reaction this weekend. Enjoy the new chapter this weekend. Enjoy the weekend overall. And I will see you guys all next week for Chapter 5. Take care. Bye, guys.